Hello, everyone, and welcome to the grand finals of the Aegis Marauders League. My name is Moose, and joining me, as always, for this season is the lovely Septi. Another season is about to come to a close, and we are about to crown a new champion here at Aegis Esports. Septi, how's it been? How was that semifinals match last week?
It was a very exciting match, of course, going to 5 games. And for those of you wondering what the heck is going on, we have a bit of some news if you aren't paying attention to the happenings of the server. There was, unfortunately, a disqualification of the Winnipeg Wombats due to smurfing. And so as a result, Ember Wolves have been promoted to the finals. And so they will be taking on Akuma Distortion in what has been a wild season and a wild set of playoff games, at least on stream. I know we've had a couple bench 3-0s, but it's been best of 5 after best of 5, all going the distance the last couple of weeks on stream. And Moose, despite the outcome, last week was incredibly exciting, and I'm super happy to have you back for what is bound to be an exciting conclusion to the season.
Definitely so. And it's maybe a little bit of a redemption here for Ember. You know, it may be showing that, yes, we were able to take a team that wasn't legal to game 5. If you're able to do that, then you might be able to be the grand champions here in the AML. So definitely a lot to look forward to for these two teams. A lot of players that really know their stuff and have been around the Aegis community for a while.
Yeah, no, both teams, I think, are filled with members that have played split after split of the AML. And, this hard work is bound to pay off for one of these teams. I am super excited. We have, 2 first seeds coming out of group stage, so they by all means deserve to be here. And I just cannot wait because Moose, we've seen a lot this split. We've seen a lot of exciting games. We've seen a lot of crazy comebacks. I don't remember how many reverse sweeps we've had during the regular season, but in the end, I just want to congratulate all the players for what they've done this split, all the hard work before this crazy series gets going. And just take a moment to appreciate, because the things that we do here in Aegis, the players, the lovely fans, the community, you guys are what make this great.
I couldn't agree more with that. And I think one of the main changes that we've been seeing this season has been the introduction of that fearless draft. It has forced teams to think about playing the game even before you get on the Rift. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to pick my one trick, or hey, we're just going to ban this one trick, because if you eventually get to that game 5 situation and you are blue side, you're most likely going to be able to get that champion. And so teams have to play strategically if they want to make this not a 5-game series and really get to see the best stuff out of all these players. And we're going to be starting with that strategic draft, that fearless draft now. Ember Wolves are going to be on the blue side. Akuma Distortion is going to be on the red. And we're going to be seeing a couple of interesting bands here: Anivia, Amumu, Akshan, Ash, Aurelia, Renekton, and I think we also have to talk about the elephant in the room in terms of the jungle pick for Ember.
So Ember Wolves unfortunately had some technical difficulties with their starting jungler, so we will not be having their starting jungler. Instead, they will be replaced by Papilio to play the jungle, which is why they banned some A champions, that Anivia, Akshan, and Amumu. Those are just placeholders so that we can get through the draft a little bit quicker. But yeah, so not having their jungler due to technical difficulties is going to cost them, 3 bans in what could have been, a slightly more impactful, usage of those bans. But we are in a new patch, Moose. I do not have the actual changes in front of me, but I can tell you something, and that is that Victor is incredibly strong right now.
Incredibly powerful. Yeah,
this champion has been popping up in the mid lane and the bot lane, been replacing a lot of AD carries with the sort of resurgence a bit of Kindred as well. Wukong coming into the jungle, so 2 very heavy AD champions that have been popping up a whole lot. Syndra going to get picked up alongside Varus, a Zayhawk classic, and a champion that I don't think we've seen Iris Bounty Hunter on too much in the mid lane here. But when I think about Ember Wolves, I don't think of Victor as a TSM Burger King pick. That's just where my head goes.
I would agree. I would agree for sure. And with the Yone getting locked in, could potentially be seeing that Victor in the bottom lane, as you had suggested. It can also be swapped, have the Yone go into the bottom lane. But with that resurgence of Victor, that's going to shift up the meta in all of those lanes that are available. And I think, Victor Syndra still going to be, if that is the case, is still going to be a very even matchup, I would say, until the scaling starts to really pop off. But Maokai is going to be the final pick in this first round of draft for Ember Wolves. Going to be able to get a little bit of that front line, that very long range engage with that Nature's Grasp. And there's a lot of root that is going on here with that Chain to Corruption. Now with Maokai, players are going to be staying in place in these team fights.
Well, I mean, at this point now, Akuma needs to pick something they can frontline with. I think a Braum would be very good. I'm not the biggest fan of Bel'Veth here. I know it is a Cyan Kip special, but I am not the biggest fan because you look at your champions, you have Varus, you have Syndra, two very strong but very immobile champions versus the likes of a Maokai and a Victor who are so good at zoning and controlling space that if you're trying to step up, if you're trying to poke and do damage with your Bel'Veth, that's, more often than not going to be dashing in, trying to close the gap. It's going to be hard to play around that, knowing that, potentially you're going to have a Victor, slow field under you. You're going to have potentially a Yonar coming over the top. And so, I mean, I imagine Varus will probably take a cleanse, or we go for something like a Braum here on 4 from Akuma. I know that is not the most common champion that we see out of Fails, but it is something that I think is very good when it comes to being able to play with Bel'Veth, use her on-hit passive, use the Varus passive, or not use the Varus passive, but set up for the Varus passive to keep them locked down for a little bit, as well as provide some disengage from what will be a very, very snap from the Yone and the Maokai. As we take a look at the bans, Ember Wolves, these are real bans coming out from them, so it will be Bard, it will be Poppy, and Akuma on the other side going to be banning away the Ivern and the Nami. So I'm not really sure if they know where the Maokai is going, because they banned one jungler, one support. It could be a Maokai top. I will not leave that out of the equation. It has been popping up a bit with the Unending Despair coming around, but we're not going to get locked in for Akuma. It is, that disengaged comp, but this is a very frail front line coming out from the Distortion side right now.
And I mean, frail frontline can lead to one of two things that Ember Wolves can go for. They can go all in on those team fights, or they could really start to go for that split push and threaten that 1v1 in the side lane, threaten that teleport angle, and Camille is going to get locked in there. Hextech Ultimatum can be devastating if you're able to get that good flank, get it onto somebody like Syndra, like Varus, where you can't get out of it, even if you have cleanse. And Hostile Takeover as well can be denied completely if the ultimate is used at the right time. Seraphine, another pickup here. Final one for Ember Wolves. Rounding it out, you've got good frontline, you've got engage, and now you've got potentially follow-up CC with that Encore. Ember Wolves have drafted, I think, a killer comp here in game 1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think where everything is going here. I would presume it's Maokai jungle. It's going to probably be maybe then Victor and Seraphine bot lane, which is a very poke-heavy bot and not the most synergistic, but with the slows that are going to be coming out from Victor eventually, I like the pairing with Seraphine. It'll offer that root and the stun. It is a very heavy AP bot lane, but I think they definitely have the potential to get priority over Varus or Renata, who will be good in longer fights, but don't really stack up well when it comes to quick trading. Olaf picked up here from Akuma Distortion it's very good for getting through the clutter that is the Ember Wolves engage, but it is not a very tanky pick. And it's a Camille, a champion that yes, wants to try and trade with you while you're CC'd with her hook shot. Doesn't really care, because she's just going to do so much damage with that true damage. Yes, the armor drop doesn't really matter then from the Olaf, but still, Camille is going to be fairly safe with a hook shot. Shouldn't be too worried. It does probably force the Ember Wolves top laner to take Flash or Ghost instead of something more aggressive like Ignite, but I think this is a bit of a heat check draft coming in from Akuma on this first one, maybe targeting out some priority picks that could potentially spell trouble for them later. I know they've talked about how they would like to keep Cyan Kip's Gwen to a later point in the draft, at least from what they've said previously. I'm not sure if the meta has changed for them, if they want to hold on to it for a later draft. But this Olaf, it'll do well with Renata, but it's not the kind of front line we are looking for.
A lot of high priority pickups here at the start of the series. Victor, I'd say 4 out of the 5 hero or champions in Ember Wolves are champions that I think most players would be comfortable with picking on their team, something that can slide in to most compositions. And for Akuma, if Zion kept playing that Belveth, we saw them play it in the quarterfinals. I think they won that match. You've got, the Varus as well. So you do have some champions that are potentially the key for Akuma Distortion winning game 1. And so depending on how this game turns out, I mean, it goes one of two ways, right? If Ember Wolves win this game, I think you're really putting a lot on this first game to get good value out of these high profile champions. And for Akuma Distortion, you're maybe taking a little bit less. You are picking up Cyan Kip's Belveth. You are picking up Zeha's Baris, but Bounty Hunter on your chest, Slappy Joe, they've got other tricks up their sleeve, and we're not seeing, I think, their top picks right now in game 1. So even if they lose game 1, like you said, could be that heat check, not necessarily the end of the world.
I mean, again, we talked about last time they were on stream, a bit of the keys to the game, if I could drag this from, another sort of sports show, was that, they really thrived when they were able to skirmish and, fight early on and fight early and often. And, having Olaf and Belveth certainly will do that for you. And before we get into our Dragon Draft, I do want to... Actually, let's do our Dragon Draft right now, Moose. Well,
okay.
Let's
whatever.
start off for the end of the season, because then we got to say a couple things.
Absolutely fantastic. So I'm assuming we did no Dragon Draft in the semifinals.
That is correct. It felt wrong to do your Dragon Draft without you.
Oh, you should have. You should have. I would not give you that same luxury. But anyway, okay, so you predicted the Ocean Soul last at the end of the quarterfinals, game 5. Yeah, we got 4 Infernal, 4 Ocean, 2 Mountain, 5 Cloud, 2 Hextech, and 4 Chemtech. So I'm gonna go with the numbers here. I'm gonna go with Hextech to start it off for me.
All right, give me the Ocean and the Cloud.
Ocean and Cloud. And I'm gonna take Infernal, and I'm gonna take Mountain, leaving you with that stinky Chemtech. Yeah.
Well, it might be my favorite dragon. And before we get into this, I do want to just take a note for what you're seeing on screen right now. Nostalgia, unfortunately, is not going to be playing that Maokai. It will be, as we said before, Papilio, their emergency sub for the evening. Again, Nostalgia having technical difficulties. But speaking of Nostalgia and speaking of the wonderful season that we've had here at Aegis, we would like to take a moment to go through your honorary all-star members. So we're going to start off with the third team. Moose, I will read third team, and then if you want to take us through the second and first team, we will give you enough time for that. But starting with your third team here for the Aegis Marauders League, it's the top side. It's going to be Noah from Phantom 5. In the jungle, it'll be Nostalgia from Ember Wolves. It'll be Mags from Bark of War, Zeha from Akuma Distortion, and Mr. Kiwiism from Dorado Gaming Gamma. Congratulations to everyone on the Akuma, the Aegis Marauders League third team.
Thank you for that. And now we get to move on to the second team. Hazem from Dorado Gamma is going to be your top lane second team pick. Fortnite from Bark of War is going to be your jungle pick. Kerrigan from Dorado Gamma. Gecko from Ember Wolves. And on your chest from Akuma Distortion. A lot of players that we're seeing in our grand finals getting picked for these all teams, Septi.
Yes, they are indeed, but none quite so heavy as our first team, and we're going to take a quick look at them right here. I think we have a graphic for it. Yes, we do. In fact, congratulations to all of our first team Aegis Marauders League All-Stars. As you can see, a lot of Akuma here on this list, Moose. In the top lane, it's going to be Slappy Joe from Akuma Distortion. His teammate Cyan Kip in the jungle, and IRS Bounty Hunter in mid. And then rounding out the bot lane, it'll be Verticality from Phantom 5 and Marcotte from Ember Wolves. So a lot of representation here in the finals. I am super excited. These players deserve every bit of honor and revel that they receive. But Moose, for the final time of this Aegis Marauders League split, we are going to send it to a quick break. But before we do, please have a listen to our sponsors. And when we get back, we're going to get into the conclusion of the Aegis Marauders League.
Quick shout out to ProComps, our sponsor and a game changer app for the league community. This isn't just like the other tools. It's your personal draft coach, perfect for both teams and solo players. In fact, you can pair it with any other app you use. ProComp stands out with features like custom champion pools, personalized tier lists, and live draft advice. Think of it as having a virtual coach and a strategy toolkit all in one. They offer real-time champ and ban recommendations. They already have over 200,000 downloads and thousands of daily users just like you. ProComps is user-friendly and totally free. It is a no-brainer to at least give it a go. Download ProComps now and you'll experience a whole new level of drafting power in your league games. Go to procomps.gg, download it from Overwolf, or click the panel below on our stream.
Welcome back, everybody. We got a 5-man start. It's almost the standard here from Akuma Distortion up into the top lane. Try to get that objective there, top side, get some warding in, get some protection, maybe even a lane swap. Septi, let's see if they are able to get it.
They might try it here.
Looks like they're trying to go out. Looks like they're trying to come forward.
Near? I feel like it's
Nair.
I feel like Nair is fine. Let's stick with Nair.
Yeah,
anyway,
let's
gonna
stick with
get
Nair.
spotted here. 2 wards gonna be placed on that blue buff, and jump scare to those who heard me using the incorrect mic on the intro. Welcome to the real microphone. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like that invade at level 1, just because when you look at the level 1 ability of the Akuma side versus this Ember Wolves team, it is a lot stronger. Obviously, you have the Renata, you have some Guardian and heal. There's a late invade going to be coming in onto the bot side here. Will spot Papilio on those Raptors and will push them off. There's no one here to support. And a very early flash coming up from the Ember Wolves jungler.
And more importantly than that, the warding from Akuma in the top lane is going to pay off massively. They will know exactly what Ember Wolves is doing in terms of the jungle. Zeha and Fail should feel very, very content with how their laning phase is going to start out.
So what I was going to say before was I'm very happy that they went for that lane swap scout, because if Ember Wolves were able to swap the Seraphine and Victor into the Olaf, it becomes a much harder lane for Slappy Joe to exist in, purely because, yes, you can farm with axes, but you're going to get so poked out from Marcona and Gecko. It is already going to be bad, you know, for your own bot lane. As Nair taking so much damage, not respecting the level 2 from Slappy Joe, and did not opt for a defensive summoner spell. Is going to be going for that aggressive ignite and will pay somewhat of a price with the potential early all-in that can come in from Slappy Joe. Critically, you were talking about the early warding, and warding indeed will catch out Papilio going for an early invade onto this top side. Started his own wolves, dodged the ward on his blue buff, took the raptors and the red buff of Cyan Kip, but might have bitten off a little bit more than they can chew here, as it looks like Cyan Kip is gonna find the tree on the top side. Yes, does so. Papilio, though, wins the smite battle and the level 3.
Gonna have a little bit of damage there, but the skirmish in the top lane as well is not going Slappy Joe's favor. So it is gonna be a 1v1, but it does look like first blood in this grand finals will go to Cyan Kip and their Belveth, taking a lot of time away,
right?
to do it though. Yeah, first blood is gonna get taken. Nicely done from Cyan Kip. Not quite yet at the time where Void Grubs will spawn, but at least it's money on the board.
It is very much so money on the board, but it also, I mean, kind of slows down Cyan Kip's scaling a lot. I think they were sort of, I mean, they knew where the Maokai was. As a big engage going to the bot side, cleanse.
A lot of damage. Cleanse from Zeha. Flash having to use by Marcote. No mana available, but Gecko is full HP on this Victor, and now Zeha very low. Fails will have to use the HP as well, so 2 summoner spells used on both sides. But now Slappy Joe is in trouble, going to be getting a little bit of shielding and ghosting away. Meanwhile, Papio in the jungle is going to be up against Cyan Kip. Burger King coming in to assist, but not enough to be able to keep Papio alive.
Oh my goodness.
And the Axe in the top lane is getting a Akuma Distortion, a 3-0 lead to start off game 1.
And we talked about it, the early skirmishing, and the skirmishing often is going to be the game plan for this team. That's exactly the way you want to start at Cyan Kip. A little bit of the not most clean engage into the jungle there. Same with Slappy Joe on the top side. Very scary fights going on around the map, but none too scary for the members of Akuma Distortion. Being able to take it, go up to a 3-0 lead. Gonna be sitting already at a 1,300 gold advantage, only 4.5 minutes into the game. Look at the base on Cyan Kip. That is a recurve bow and a Rectrix. How many of you knew that was the name, by the way, of that item? I guarantee you less than 5 people in chat knew the name of that Kraken Slayer component. Cyan Kip gonna find Papilio again. W's in.
Oh no, and now Papilio, no ghost available, is gonna get stunned up, and this could be a killing spree for the Belveth, and it is. To start off this series, the emergency sub for Ember Wolves is just not able to go up against Cyan Kip, who has had such a stellar start on this Belveth. Really good on those engage champions, confirming those kills. And now they've got full reign on their bottom side jungle to pick up. They could go for the Ocean Drake as well. And they got about 30 seconds before those Void Grubs spawn to potentially get that first stack.
Yeah, I don't imagine Cyan Kip will be able to get to that level 6. But should definitely have the advantage going into the grub play. It is a level 4 Maokai, granted to a level 4 Belveth. As hold on in the mid lane, Iris Bounty Hunter gonna take the Yone down to such a low HP. Still flash available as Maokai now potentially gonna be showing up here. Does have the Fate Sealed
and does have the flash, and now we're gonna see if they're gonna be able to get it. Not a lot left in the tank for Bounty Hunter, and they will go down to the Fate Sealed, and Void Grubs will spawn at that time as well. And with that death, Ember Wolves are going to make it a little bit more dangerous for Akuma to go directly for them, as Slappy Joe, with no summoner spells, could potentially be in trouble by Nair, who is now level 6. But that lane is pushed up forward. We got the roam from Fails into the topside river as well. So it does look like they will be able to get it, but it is a little bit more costly than I think they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the Bounty Hunter goes down there. The kill does go the way of Burger King. Cyan Kip gonna leave that last one. Maybe he's close to level 6 or believes that the collapse is coming. Is Slappy Joe sticking around kind of on the wrong page? Let me check Cyan Kip's XP real quick. I don't think we'll get it off of this Raptor camp, but we'll be very close to it. Yeah, one more camp would get the Belveth level 6, so might be playing for that right now. But I mean, that was kind of the perfect roam from fails. I think I have to comment Akuma on their macro right now. It has been kind of crisp, being able to move that Renata to that crab on the bot side, as well as to that early grub play with both waves in top and bot being at the right timing for them, was really what allowed them to do it. So good setup as Gecko trying to get some control of this wave. Slappy Joe could trade on the top side, does have that AD advantage. A Cyan Kip now gonna finally return to the final grub as some nice trading going on. Zeha is close to 6.
Yeah,
here. No flash available.
A flash available. Hex Tech Ultimatum is ready. Scout of the week potentially in position for Burger King to pick it up, as they are going to be able to land it. Ultimate is available. We're going to be seeing some teleports coming in. I just noticed this, Septi. Ember Wolves with 3 teleports on their composition. All 3 of them down at this point. Dragon is still up at the 8-minute mark. Very delayed start for Dragon stacking if either team wanted to go for that. But the aggressive positioning of Akuma Distortion will continue as Cyan Kip, a level ahead of Paplio at this point, will go for the red buff. Marcote will scout that out, but should be able to get away, just showing that they are there.
Oh no.
Roaming down to the bottom lane, but now Ragnarok is going to have to be used by Paplio, and they will have to flash and ghost as well, just from a Maokai who went in with their W. Nicely done from this Maokai.
Yeah, Cyan Kip is going to try and base and run straight back out to it. Bounty Hunter, no ulti available as Burger King's taking so much damage in that mid lane. Good flash from Slappy Joe, but a good play from Papilio to try and get some pressure on the map. Did have to trade their bot side camps to make it happen, but I mean, if you are Ember Wolves right now, I think you are just trying to maintain the status quo, not fall too far behind. I believe they do have the scaling advantage in this game. This Olaf will be one-shottable at some point. The Bel'Veth is very strong, so it might be hard to actually reach that scaling. But I mean, you said it before, 3 TPs, a Cyan Kip gonna find Papilio. That's a lot of damage coming out from this Bel'Veth. Papilio going down. The 1v1 from this Bel'Veth is so powerful right now. A Bomby Cinder to a full Kraken Slayer. And I want to say that was a 2-level advantage for Cyan Kip as well, but maybe they bit off more than they can chew right here.
Burger King gonna come in, now has that Fate Seal. Nair does have X-Tech Ultimatum, but whiffs the Fate Sealed. Oh, that's disaster for Ember Wolves. 2 ultimates using now. Cyan Kip is gonna go in feeling confident, and Cyan Kip might be able to turn this around, gonna be able to get the knockup on a Burger King. Will get shut down. Big money going to Burger King in the mid lane. Huge for them to be able to get that going, but it is still a good play from Cyan Kip, making it a 1-for-1.
Yeah, and while Nair was actually trying to go for that play to assist their jungler, Slappy Joe was able to crash a wave, was able to take 2 plates on that top side, and is now sitting currently with 900 gold in inventory. This Olaf is incredibly powerful, has Ragnarok flash from Papilio.
And now we've got the Nature's Grasp as well, but Ragnarok was used. This is going to be a 3v1. Ragnarok, not quite enough, but they are making it close. Oh my God, it is enough. Holy crap. Akuma Distortion's top laner, Slappy Joe, will pick up 1, forces out the Encore and the heal, and
here.
Low health bars now. Papilio is very much in trouble and is going to give another kill over to Akuma Distortion at 9-3.
9-3, 10 minutes in, more than a kill a minute here in our finals. I would have to say Akuma are looking pretty on point right now. You have to feel a little bit something for the Ember Wolves guys, because they are playing with an emergency sub jungler who, by the way, is trying to stay active on this map and is trying to make up for the plays that happened to them early on. Getting pushed out of their jungle, getting tracked and killed at level 3 is, you know, I know junglers, you know, who may or may not be named Septi, who would want to FF if they got pushed off their first camp and died trying to go to an invade to level it out. So the fact that Papilio is still in it and is still trying to go for these plays is very commendable. Second set of grubs now spawning. 2.5 minutes left on those for Cyan Kip to take, but with the way the top side and the mid lane are currently, you have to imagine it's only a matter of time before this Bel'Veth is able to get her true form once again. And Slappy Joe now, full completed Ravenous Hydra on this top side Nair. I don't know if you win versus Slappy Joe unless you have Ignite. It is very hard, and this Olaf is now just going to try and take their advantage and proxy and really start to choke out Papilio of their own top side. And I gotta ask this, because when I look at this side, when I look at what the Ember Wolves really have at their on hand of plays that they can go for, I'm kind of stuck a little bit. Like, where is your advantage right now? Yes, it's in the fact that your bot lane can push, and yes, your mid lane is strong 1v1, but Bounty Hunter has been doing such a good job of stonewalling, and Zeha and Fails have not really put themselves in a position where they really are. Oh, I guess this is the answer. You try and gank mid.
Yeah, gonna be able to get the root onto Bounty Hunter, but no flash available, was not used. And I think this is, to answer your question, I think that this might be a critique of Gecko and Marcote going for this Victor Seraphine bundle here. With Victor in the bottom lane, there's not really much place that they can go without Zeha going in, but now Slappy Joe might have overextended here. Ragnarok is going to get used as well as Ghost. Hextech Ultimatum is available for Nair. Ignite is going to get popped. Hextech Ultimatum will drop, and Burger King will be able to pick it up. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Bounty Hunter going to be down half HP. Papio trying to do what they can to keep that tower alive before turret plates fall. But yeah, I feel like because of the way that the game has turned out, Gecko's still, CSing fine, will come online eventually, but is it a little bit too late? And are they going to be able to get to that point where they can one-shot this backline?
I mean, it gets to a point where if Akuma cannot get on top of the Victor, they will do a lot of damage. And I mean, credit to Gecko, have been farming well. TP coming in now from the Victor, so we'll stop the bases.
Ooh, Chance Corruption available.
It was available. I think smartly though, Zeha holding on to it, knows that they have their first item completion on bases. Slappy Joe, you, my friend, have bit off more than you can chew unless Papilio is going to go down very quickly. No, it will not. Burger King has the Q3 available. Flash from Slappy Joe, though. Bounty Hunter is here. Here comes the Unleashed Power. All that's left to do is Burger King to snap back. Has the flash. And Cyan Kip is here to go. Papilio, though, getting beaten down by this red buff here. Smite from Cyan Kip and a reset on the passive as Fails. Finds Nair.
Oh boy,
is here to save the day yet again. Nair going very low, gonna go down, and a double kill for the Akuma jungler. But on the bot side of the map, it was a dive from Marcote and Gecko, getting a very successful kill on to the 80 carry of Akuma Distortion. So very well played to them. And we talked about it, Gecko, that is oh so very close to tower range. You talked about it, Gecko and Marcote. Yeah, they were slow to get started, but now have an item on their 80 carry, or rather their AP carry, and are really making it work here. Gonna get that second tower of the game, as Slappy Joe is just far too powerful on that top side, so unable to get the first. But a very, I would still call it a positive play for the side of Akuma here, but a good trade coming out from the bot lane of Ember Wolves.
Wow.
As neutral's going down all over the place.
Yeah, we got to highlight this though. Cyan Kip cashing in on their huge lead in the early game, picking up all of the Void Grubs as well as that Rift Herald. Exactly what you want to do if you are that Belveth. And so I think, job well done for them. And for Ember Wolves, we have to remember Gecko and Marcote are defending their championship title from the Summer League. And they know what they're doing. But let's see if they have bought off more than they can chew. As a flash is going to have to use by Marcote to be able to get away. Hostile takeover is going to put Papio into a very difficult position. But now Cyan Kip gets bought out. Will go down, and that's going to be another shutdown going over to Burger King.
That's a lot of investment. That's such a heavy investment. Yes, you get the shutdown. Yes, you get an extra 150 gold, but the play's not over. Fails very low. Force the flash, changes corruption down onto the Camille. Very low goes Nair. The arrow going as well. Zeha getting a trade kill for their jungler's efforts. And we got to take a look at the top lane too right now, because this tower is going to get absolutely crushed by Slappy Joe. It is already going down. 2 towers in the top side in 16 minutes, and the gold lead on that top side, just to let you know quickly, is 3,000 in favor of the Akuma top laner. 3,000 gold in an individual matchup at 16 minutes.
I mean, Slappy Joe has been performing such incredibly well this entire season. They are the top ranked all-star member of the top laners for a reason. They are playing so well against Nair on to this Camille. A great R5 pick from Akuma Distortion, from so many seasoned veterans of the AML, as we are going to get another fight again, as now Marco is in trouble. Encore is going to go wide. Fails, sidesteps it, using that Youmu's to great effect. And Marcotte is down. It is 13-6. It is an almost 6,000 gold lead. And with Burger King not able to respond quickly enough in the top lane,
oh my god, that's so much damage.
Looks like Akuma Distortion are going to be able to get this second dragon as well. Rough game one for Ember Wolves, but I still do not think it is over.
No, not by a long shot.
They just have to find that right play. And let's see if they're going to be able to find it now. As Nair is going to get dove in the bottom lane. Should be able to get out. Nice Fate Seal going to land on it too. Burger King is there. Papio's extremely low. So close to getting enough damage down on a Bounty Hunter, but they did not have to use Flash. They will be able to get out, and the top lane will survive. Meanwhile, bottom lane tier 1 tower will go down, and Slappy Joe will go on to tower number 4.
You missed a great slapping towers pun.
I have enough time for that in this series.
It is only game 1. I'll give it to you. It is only game 1. But in how many games can Ember Wolves afford to let Slappy Joe take 3 towers all by his lonesome? Because it's probably not this one. Slappy Joe is the most wealthy person in the game, despite their 9-kill jungler. The top laner, the guy farming at slightly below 10 CS per minute with only 2 kills to their name, is the most wealthy person in the game by about 400 gold. But I mean, I gotta say that bot play, yes, you expended a lot for it. Yes, you ended up trading 1 for 1, but what it did do, and what I think is slightly important is, and this might just be a jungler thing and someone who plays a lot of Bel'Veth, you denied the extended true form from Cyan Kip. You denied that 3-minute timer that, you know, is really what keeps the Bel'Veth, you know, moving and grooving and keeping her so dangerous throughout the map. Now, until she takes a Baron, is at most going to have a minute of power play time on her true form. So this Bel'Veth is going to be moving a lot more slowly around the map, is going to have a little bit less damage and a little bit less attack speed until she's able to either get a kill or get another objective, whether that's a dragon, whether that's a Baron, we will see. With Baron spawning in 30 seconds time, and my favorite dragon being the Soul,
let's go.
See what Cyan Kip goes for next. There's 2 items completed across the board, except for Zeha on the side of Akuma, and we're ignoring fails because supports don't get gold. That's just the thing. But on the other side, I mean, 2 items completed for Gecko, so this Victor is not weak by any means. But the rest of the team around them is suffering greatly because of it.
It's going to have to be either a perfect engage by Ember Wolves, or they're going to have to out-skirmish the skirmishers here. And I don't know if that's going to be possible, as Slappy Joe is walloping against that inner tower in the bottom lane. Going to take a little bit of damage for their efforts, but the play is going to continue. A cross-rift play here, as the inner tower in the mid lane is going to get hit by that Rift Herald shot. Going to be pushing that lane aggressively forward. And we talked about this in the quarterfinals match. One of Akuma Distortion's strength is being able to set up their lanes effectively so that they can go for big plays. And what are they setting up here? I think it's going to have to be Baron.
How many top laners you know would run away from a fight where you have Ignite and full HP, and the other top laner is sitting at like 55% health? How many matchups is that the case? I mean, Slappy Joe is basically back to full HP with the help of that Ravenous Hydra, but you look at inventory, that is an experimental hexplate. I have not seen one of those since the item basically was released, and it was being built on, yes, Olaf a bit, but mostly on Nocturne for, you know, both that ulti CD as well as the attack speed you get and movement speed. Wow, this is just an Olaf item. Anyway, it is so perfect in this game. No one is going to be able to kill Slappy Joe. It'll allow them to go absolutely crazy, and it should be fine for Burger King. Cyan Kip will not be able to get there in time, but we'll still try and do their due diligence.
Yeah, they will be able to get out, but now we're going to be seeing the fruit of that Rift Herald play. We have Nair still trying to push out that bottom lane, and Slappy Joe was able to back out get back into the jungle, and now they can start at that Baron with waves pushing in the side lanes. Teleport's gonna have to get used by either Naya or Burger King here.
Let's remember, this Akuma composition wants to turn. They want to disengage and then go back into you. They want to soak your engages. I think we get a bit of a pause.
Okay, yes. A deep breath before.
A deep breath. To be fair, there was so for those of you unaware, there was a pause at the start of the game. This could just be one of those, or the game broke. One of the two. I hope it is not the second one. But we are having a short pause. But I mean, hey, I think it's totally acceptable that Akuma decided to start this Baron. It's going down fairly quickly. The members of Ember Wolves have to respond, because otherwise it is going to be basically game losing if they are not able to contest or push them off this Baron. The plus side of this Baron is that if they are able to push them off, Ember Wolves should be able to push them towards the top side, which will then hopefully open a lane to get some damage on the mid tower or get some setup on the dragon in 30 seconds. No one cares about this dragon. Not a single person in this game cares about this dragon. Akuma needs to win the game in the next 10 minutes. And if they don't, I think it'll be very hard for them to actually succeed. Yes, they will still be very strong. I could be wrong, but if the game goes for another 10 minutes, you know, your Seraphine starts getting items, your Victor gets another item in their pocket, and the wombo combo, the potential one-shot ability onto Slappy Joe gets that much higher for the side of Ember Wolves. But long story long, Akuma Distortion trying to accelerate the pace of this game, given the advantage that they have. They don't have any towers to go for really anymore, and so now this is the natural next step, considering they don't have a traditional siege composition. And yeah, that is my $50 on the topic.
Thank you very much, Septi. I'll buy it. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Antis is definitely patienting here, and I appreciate y'all's patience as we get this figured out. We're going to take it to a quick break to figure out what's going on here, and when we return, hopefully we'll be back into this team fight. We'll let you know as soon as possible. See you guys soon.
Welcome back, everyone. We are back from a bit of a Riot Games moment. Just to catch you up, we did lose about 3 or 4 minutes on the game clock, so have no fear. Septimus will get you back caught up. Akuma did grab the Baron. They were able to knock down mid-tier 2 after the damage from the initial Herald charge. It was a 2-for-2 trade, I believe, at what we assume was a Baron fight. And at the same time, after that, Akuma was able to get the Dragon. The gold lead did not balloon. It stayed pretty similar. It is 7,000. So still about the same. Some items were picked up, but now you are more or less caught up to where we are. Akuma is back on the map. They have spent their gold and are currently looking to just choke the Ember Wolves out of the rest of the game. So I think whenever we're ready, we can unpause and keep going.
Perfect. And
Yeah.
yep, there it is. Hey,
Yeah,
we
back.
did it.
Hey, welcome back. Riot
we-
Games.
We figured it out, but I think the most important thing that we got to look at here is that Gecko, no teleport, no flash. The team fight must have just happened near the end of the phase, but I think importantly that we got to look at here is that Ember Wolves was able to steal that Baron.
Yeah, they were. They absolutely
able
were,
to
and I totally missed that.
Yep.
I totally missed that. How did I
Yep.
miss that? Well, I did not do a good job of catching everyone up on the game. Moose, you have a pair of eagle eyes on you, my friend.
That's what I do, and that probably is the reason why this game sort of stabilized. Gecko did not die. You were able to get a little bit more money in their bank. They are still aggressively farming on this Victor. 240 CS, very impressive. And this is now that point in the game, Septi, that you were talking about, where Ember Wolves, I think, have been patient enough that they might just have enough damage in this Victor and Yon alone to turn this game into their victory, as Akuma might just start falling off massively here.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very hard time to be an Akuma member without Baron. They don't really have a way to, they don't really have a win con without it. Because you've done the hard part, right? You've done the we smashed the lane, we got a big gold lead. But now all that's left to do, you have two options. You can, try and play with Baron, do the thing that teams normally do to end the game. You get Baron, you siege with the cannon, you break open the base, and then it's a little, slow grind to kill them all. Or you do what the LPL does, which is my preferred way of ending. Not that I'm very good at it, but you go 5 mid and you dive them under their tower. What do they do when you have a gold lead and you are just better? That is the other option. It is much more risky, but it is an option that prevents the worst case scenario of Ember Wolves getting to their scaling. Because yeah, as you said, they got the Baron, they stalled the game. They only lost a tower and a dragon for it. And the gold lead still sitting at about 8k is not the worst. And when we've talked about this since the dawn of time, that the press R composition can win any fight so long as it is the right fight. And right now, Ember Wolves are looking for that right fight.
And I think also Akuma Distortion as well. I think the big key thing that we need to look at in terms of what happened during that break was that Bounty Hunter did pick up a couple of kills and is now extremely powerful. Rabadon's death cap, as well as that revolver online for them. They've got a significant amount of AP, and they're very close to level 16. Now, if Akuma is able to get this dragon, if it's taken without a fight, they will have Chemtech soul points at the 34-ish minute mark. And this game could very easily go that long. So Ember Wolves has to decide whether or not they want to sack this one or maybe attempt to go for it. Doesn't look like they want to go for it. They want to try to get some standing gold on the map.
Well, this is the position that Akuma could potentially look for a play. This dragon and Baron spawning at the same time has drawn the Ember Wolves out of the safety that is their inhib towers. And if Slappy Joe decides to look for a fight, if they let them into this river here and create a flank, Varus has ulti. They are trapped currently in this bush. Gecko will get spotted trying to walk away, but the flash available on Papilio, it is very dangerous for Zeha to try and step up and look for a Chains of Corruption here. But this Victor is so strong through random Scion Cave, though. Gonna get caught.
Burger King going to be in. Charm is going to land on a multiple member. Danger grabs as well. Also take over that. Fails it. So good with it. And Marauder has no escape. Access ultimatum will stop as well. And there comes the huge play from Fails.
There it
It
is.
only takes out one so far. but massive hostile takeover from this Renata Glosk. That is going to give Akuma Distortion a chance to go for Baron, and Ember Wolves might not get a chance for another fight.
It was all a bait. Cyan Kip definitely wasn't trying to bait it, was trying to step up to get a ward into that river bush, but was tanky enough, was nimble enough with their fingers to get out of that engagement. And we talked about it at the start of this game over and over again. That fails, that Zeha, that Iris Bounty Hunter with their ability to disengage the fight is exactly what this team wants to be doing. And you know, I mean, what options do you have if you are the Ember Wolves? You know, you have to go in, you see their jungler overstep their 9-2 jungler, getting, you know, too close to the shark, putting their hand in its mouth. You tried to bite it off, but it was too slippery. On the other side, Slappy Joe popped the ghost, popped the Ragnarok. Cyan Kip, though, gonna try and 1v1 this Yone. It is a dangerous task.
Very dangerous. Going to be able to get out of the
E. I don't know if they actually can do it.
Burger King, very dangerous.
Oh, never mind.
Will go down, and now Cyan Kip will be the key for Akuma Distortion to potentially end this game as they start to push forward. 6 stacks on the Void Grubs as well. They will be sieging up a storm as Baron up minions are now pushing into the mid lane, already down to less than half HP. Hardcoat does have Encore available, but it's not gonna land on a Papio, nothing that they can do but drop that Nature's Grasp, which will allow the rest of Ember Wolves to disengage. But Slappy Joe's gonna go for the inhibitor in the bottom lane, the mid lane. Inhibitor is also going to go down. All the Void Grubs now starting to attack the Nexus in a 3v5 situation. Marco trying to keep everyone alive as long as possible. 7 seconds remaining until Burger King responds. Encore does not do much. And game 1 will go to Akuma Distortion at 31 minutes. Another hostile takeover landing on a multiple Embers. Burger King almost gets a really cool fate sealed. But yeah, game 1 will go to Akuma Distortion a little bit longer than I think that they had expected to, with that Baron steal from Ember Wolves. But at the end of the day, they are able to finish the job, and I am looking blurry.
You're a little blurry. I mean, hey, I mean, that game was a proper roundhouse kick to start us off. And, you know, I mean, this gold diff says it all. No real tidal waves, no real crashes of the market. But, I mean, this is exactly how you wanted it to go. We see the little Baron whoopsie at around 22 minutes in the game. But, I mean, they hardly lost anything. They went 2 for 2. The only gold that was lost was the actual Baron gold. And I believe Akuma was able to come back out and continue choking out the jungle camps. And, I mean, speaking of jungle camps, I want to give props to Papilio, but it was such a great game from Cyan Kip to run it from start to finish, to have the game plan. I mean, nothing happened bot lane the entire game. And so it was really just, you know, a topside battle. And all that was going on was, you know, was Zeha and it was Zeha and the AD carry farming it out, trying it, and Gecko, farming it out, hoping that their teams can hold on. Yeah, I mean, take a look at the damage charts. The AD carry position didn't do a whole lot. Not normally what we expect out of the AD carry role, but it was such a massive start. And the momentum is truly currently on Akuma's side with the way that this first game played out.
Yeah, and it is rough to be an emergency sub in a grand final situation where, you know, prize money is on the line, a chance for, you know, players to become a champion of a league. And so I don't want to I'm not going to throw shade at Papio on this Maokai. I think they came in, you know, did what they needed to do. They were a team player, but unfortunately, you know, with the way that the game turned out, and because you have such a powerful champion like Victor going into the bottom lane that wasn't able to really be activated, that wasn't able to really have presence across the map, it didn't matter that they outperformed Zeha because they were never really unlocked. And the top jungle duo of Akuma Distortion absolutely dominated from start to finish. Slappy Joe, Cyan Kip putting in the work, and it just goes to show you how important the jungle role is in the early game, the communication that's there, the ability to be able to find those early plays to get that snowball going or to maybe even stabilize a lane is super impactful. And I am hopeful that nostalgia will be able to come back so that we can get back to the primary teams going into game 2. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take it to a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into draft of game 2. We'll see you guys shortly. Welcome back, everybody, to the start of Game 2 here at the AML. Nostalgia is indeed back. And so we've got the starters from both teams now ready to battle it out in Game 2 draft. All those 5 champions that were banned away in Game 1 are now no longer going to be available. And I wonder how the mental is for Ember Wolves right now going into Game 2. Are they just saying, hey, mulligan Game 1, let's just jump into it? Or you think they're feeling the pressure?
I mean, this team did not know they were playing until I want to say about maybe 2 o'clock today. So I can't imagine the mental is too bad. I think maybe Nostalgia might be a little tilted that their internet sort of decided to crap out on themselves at such a pivotal moment. But again, for them, it was going to be just a normal Tuesday today. And all of a sudden, you know, they get to play in the finals, play for the final prize. And now, more importantly than ever, they get their bans back. They get their first 3 phase bans back, or first phase 1 bans back, which is 3 bans. And they're able now to compete at a full level. Maybe we can start banning Gwen. We can start doing the things that was causing Akuma some problems in their series. Versus, I want to say, 1 second, let me double check who it was against, because they had problems in their, you know, in their quarterfinal matchup versus Barca War, and a lot of it I feel like was targeted bans at Cyan Kip, and so being able to sort of limit that pool and limit the scalability, or not the scalability, but the comfort that Cyan has in a lot of their picks is probably a good way to go about playing against Akuma, because Cyan has a lot of weird stuff. I think we saw the Nunu, we saw the Gwen, I think we saw Ivern as well. Just as, you know, some of the picks that Cyan went for in that previous series. But I don't know, Ember Wolves, if they had time to make a game plan, now's the time to show out.
Definitely. And you have also Akuma. Akuma is an organization that has been around for several years. They've got teams scattered around the different leagues of different ranked players, and being able to bring home a championship for your organization is definitely a big deal. And so I think for Akuma, this is an opportunity for them to be able to keep that going. And then for Ember Wolves, this, like I was saying at the beginning of the series, it is an opportunity for them to show, hey, we were able to take it to Game 5 last week. Can we do that again here against Akuma Distortion? I think that there was a lot of anticipation for this grand finals. I think there was a lot of expectation that these two teams might have been the grand finalists at the end, like at the beginning of the season. There are definitely a lot of other contenders out there, but both of these teams have a lot of power behind their belt, a lot of opportunity to be able to show off here in this league. And I think we are done stalling. I think we're ready to jump into this draft. Ember Wolves are now going to be on blue side. Akuma Distortion is going to be on red. So same side selection as Game 1. And I am curious if Ember Wolves maybe want to give a little bit more respect to Slappy Joe in the top lane, or maybe give Nair a little bit more of a comfort pick moving into Game 2 as we take a look at these bans.
I mean, you didn't see it last week, but Nair had, you know, one of their best games playing Camille.
Oh.
So it was, I believe someone in the chat last week as well was saying Nair Camille is free win. But I mean, hey, now that Camille's off the board, I think critically a lot of really powerful champions went off the board in game number 1. I mean, again, no Victor, no Yone, no Camille, no Renata, no Varus, no Syndra. As Ember Wolves, they're gonna do it to him. They're gonna take
Wow.
Cyan away.
That is, I think, that's a really smart play. And I think because of what Ember Wolves were able to do in that quarterfinals match, use it as an ace in the hole champion that was just able to sweep in that game is going to be really cool. But will Ember Wolves decide to go for it in the jungle like Akuma did, or is it just going to be a classic top lane pick? As we take a look at the bans, you know, Gwen now not going to have to deal with the Aurelia or the Renekton, so that's kind of signaling to me that it's going to be a top side Gwen. Meanwhile, Akuma Distortion going to be able to take away the Jax and the Jinx?
I mean, I'm not gonna pretend like, you know, Nostalgia doesn't have a 60% win rate on Gwen and solo queue. I'm not gonna pretend like that isn't a thing.
Well, now we know.
Now we know. I mean, now we know. But you know what this does allow though is that later on, if it's available, you don't have to worry about the Skarner pick anymore. You don't have to worry about the Gwen counter to a Skarner pick. Akuma Distortion. Again, I mean, I doubted the draft last game. I'm gonna stop this time because the hand stiff was just too apparent. I think in game number 1, just the ability to outplay was really good. I wonder if there was a lot of confidence that this Gwen was going on the top side, or if this is just a Cyan Kip classic on the Jax. But either way, Jinx, Lulu gonna get picked up on the bot side. Sayha gonna get hopefully a little bit more focus in this game, no longer on the poke Varus. We'll be playing a much more heavy focus, and it could honestly still be Gwen Jax top lane with a Senna Ornn bot. I haven't seen a Senna lane in a while. I know Ornn is traditionally a champion that is fairly good with her, is able to farm, is able to, you know, play safe, and is fairly rigid when it comes to dealing with the likes of a Jinx and a Lulu. But we'll have to see as we are in the second phase of bans. Yasuo gonna get taken off the board against Burger King. That is nice, especially considering the Ornn does have a knockup, and your backline is fairly frail for the time being. There also is no current wind wall for this Ornn. I feel like Braum would have been potentially a good pickup on 3 there, but instead we're going to opt for some lane dominance, hopefully, if that Ornn does go bot side. But we will have to see as the Smolder as well taking away another pick that Ember Wolves used, I believe, in their semifinal series. Now, if you take a look on the bottom of the screen, you can see the champions that are not available for this game. Ember Wolves rounding it out with the Galio ban.
And I think that they're worried about they were definitely worried about the Sylas getting too much value out of 3 super impactful ultimates to Leah now coming in as well. I think that that's probably going to be going in to mid lane here. But I think for Akuma Distortion, they are, if I'm reading this, I think they're looking for a way for Cyan Kip to be able to get another one of those super powerful engaged champions, follow that up with the Lulu knockup and the seismic shove from Talia, and maybe try to go for something that's a little bit more assassiny, or maybe something that can easily get in to the backline here. My first initial thought was J4, but you know, there are a lot of other options that could be available in that route, and you would be relatively weak in the front line. And Ember Wolves are going to follow up their draft with Orianna going into the mid lane and Fiora getting locked in. I don't believe it. That would confirm that it is, you know, Senna Ornn in the bottom lane.
It would. It is. I imagine they might go something a little bit more aggressive. Fiora is, I guess, the pick that you go for here. It is fairly decent into Jax. It is a big mind game between the riposte and the counter strike. So we'll have to see where the where the coolest heads lie in this top side. Slappy Joe gonna have to be a lot more, I want to say, pointed with the way that they trade in this lane. Cannot just have the benefit of Olaf healing for the entirety of the rest of them. Curious how Akuma Distortion are going to round this out.
Do you put Jax in the jungle, maybe?
You put Jax in the jungle and you put Vladimir in the top lane.
Yeah, I was thinking, you know, if you know that Nostalgia is going to be playing this Gwen, Fiora's going to be in the jungle, you could, or Fiora's going to be in the top lane, sorry. You could rotate the Jax down into the jungle. The concern is that you don't have a front line, like, at all.
We didn't have one last game. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, they won last game for sure. And if anything, go ahead.
If anything, it makes it easier to scatter. You know,
good point.
You have your Vlad being able to go in with R and Pool. Oh, we are trying to swap Vlad to Kindred potentially. Not sure where the rules currently stand on this. It was a fairly late swap, so we'll find out. We might need a.
Well,
Might
well,
be
we'll
able to.
find out.
Yeah, we'll
find out. We'll do the Dragon Draft here, Septi. It was your favorite sold game, that Chemtech coming in. Game 2. I will start with the Hextech Soul once again.
All right. I mean, let's keep it the status quo. Let's go for the ocean and the cloud.
I can't keep the status quo. I gotta go for something new here. So I'm gonna go with Mountain, and I'm gonna go with Chemtech. And I'm gonna leave you with Infernal, your actual favorite dragon. That's a lie, but we can call it your favorite dragon for this game.
Technically, it's a lie, but it's my favorite content dragon.
It's your favorite content dragon for sure. And then we'll get that confirmation here, because if it is the Kindred, different strategy altogether than with the Vladimir. And have we got that confirmation yet, Septi?
We do not yet.
Alrighty.
Vlad is Vlad, says Gecko.
Vlad is Vlad.
No one is shaking any hands today. We are we are being very brutal, but also very fair, technically speaking, because you locked it in. You locked it in. It wasn't it wasn't a random pick. It wasn't a no pick, and you waited far too long. And
I agree with that. Like, I understand maybe a team being like, hey, I want you to play at your best. We're all trying to be Goku here, but sometimes you have to be Vegeta. Sometimes you have to be a little bit more cutthroat. And I don't know Dragon Ball. I just assume Vegeta's calculated. I would just assume that. So maybe
do an over 9,000 joke and hope that it sticks or what.
Yeah. The puns are all there. But anyway, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be jumping into game 2. Can Akuma Distortion make this a 2-0 series and be in potential match point condition, or will Ember Wolves, with Return of Nostalgia, be able to make it a 1-1 series, moving us into a very exciting game 3? We'll find out in just a bit, folks. See you guys soon. Welcome back, everybody. We are now starting game 2 of our grand finals series here in the Aegis Marauders League. We're gonna get the 5-man start from Ember Wolves this time into the top lane. Try to see if they can scout out Slappy Joe, but it is a 5-point start for Akuma Distortion. No one budging quite yet.
It is I mean, they were trying to prevent the lane swap, as Akuma tried to do in game number 1. And to be honest, I respect it. They are going to have, Senna and Ornn on the bot side. So being able to, I mean, Vlad should be able to farm fairly freely into that lane if they were to do it, but no, going to deny it. And some very bold stepping coming from both Bounty Hunter and Fails. This ward will get placed, but there is a sweeper from Nostalgia and it will get spotted out. It'll be 10 gold, but no XP advantage gained by Nostalgia or Marcote, because I did remove that from the game. But both junglers going to start on their respective red sides, although it looks like Nostalgia will be going for a Raptor start instead of a buff start, which does signify that this Gwen is trying to play for a very farm heavy style. And for those of you who do not remember when Cyan Kip played this on stream a few weeks ago, they really didn't do much in the way of ganking. They kind of just farmed out and hoped to God that their team just wouldn't lose the game while they did. Because Gwen versus Jax is just going to absolutely win in a power farming battle. And so as long as nothing happens to the map, as long as your lanes can stay even on CS, it'll just be a win for your jungler and for your team most likely.
Yeah, and I think that is the, like you were saying, that Raptor start is there. They're going to be going for that red buff now. And Akuma Distortion, they're very familiar with this strategy. Fails and Zeha are bullying Gecko and Marcote. Both these supports have a little bit of healing and shielding, providing their DPS with a little bit more sustain. Right now, Akuma Distortion is the one that are pushing forward to get a little bit damage onto that, as Slappy Joe is going to go for the all-in against Nair. Nair does have flash available. Q is up. But no, not enough. Not confident enough. Slappy Joe will lose Ignite. Nostalgia will back and teleport away.
In the end, it'll be a trade of Ignite for TP. So it's not the end of the world. I think Slappy Joe saw the writing on the wall that if you were to flash forward and try and get the empowered Q onto Fiora, it would just be a parry most likely, and it's a little bit scary to play that mind game. Similar with the Jax and the Counter-Strike, it's just, who's gonna hold on to it, who's not going to. Anyway, doesn't matter. Gwen is on the top side, gonna be wrapping straight back down towards that bot side. It thinks that with the pressure coming out from the Slappy Joe top side, that Jax most likely is clearing up to it as well. But unfortunately, as we see Nostalgia sidestepping back and forth in this mid lane, is not really going to have anywhere to go, and will guess right on the crab and go towards that top side where they will be able to secure their hold on Bounty Hunter with a nice shove.
Yeah, Burger King now in trouble. Nice polymorph from Fails. Exhaust used as well, and first blood will go to Fails, but did have to go for the flash. Now we've got Nostalgia coming in as well as Gecko. They want to make this a good play. Gecko going to flash away from the Counter-Strike. Nicely done. Nostalgia cannot finish up. Fails. And Cyan Kip will be able to take out the Gwen. And now Gecko is in trouble. Marcote is here going to go in for the knockup, but a flash away from Fails will mean that they're able to get out very low HP on both Bounty Hunter and Fails. They are not able to assist here, as Cyan Kip is going to be able to take out Gecko. Now Burger King is back with a flash forward. Bounty Hunter very low, going to be able to get a little bit of slowing on Marcote, as Zaya is now the one with the most HP. Going to be able to find the slow in on to Ornn, as Ornn goes in. Going to be able to pick up a kill for Burger King as a flash forward from Zaya. Now going to be able to get excited. No further summoner spells available, as a teleport will come in from Bounty Hunter to finish it. It is a 4-for-1 in favor of Akuma Distortion.
It was a 4-for-1, and almost every single one of the summoner spells traded on the map there. Not a single person coming out of it with a summoner spell left. The only ones are the flashes that were not burned in that 1v1 on the top side, but still, I think the kills going exactly where you want them to go if you are the Akuma side. Gecko here on the top side now. Does Slappy Joe have the sanguinated pool? No, going to be forced to flash in order to dodge the root coming out from the Ember Wolves support with a nice roam. And it's perfect to be able to actually have this timer. Your top laner caught I said your top laner because I saw Orin on the map and my brain just, did the thing with the association thing, But anyway, Marco was able to catch a very, very nice wave that had been stacking away from Zeha. Hence why you see such a massive TS lead as Burger King gonna get flipped back into the tower, autoing down so close, gonna die, fails. 2-0 on this Lulu. Call it supportal combat because fails is here to make an impact as Gecko. You don't have flash, my friend.
Oh boy, and Akuma Distortion are now looking to pick up their 7th kill. Absolute slaughter coming in from Akuma at the start of this game, and it is not what Ember Wolves want to have happen. Nostalgia now getting behind the 8-ball here, as they're not able to go for the camps, the farm that they're going for. They're only up by less than half a camp. It might even be even here at the end, as Akuma Distortion will be able to pick up the Void Grubs. And this snowball could be just as bad as it was in game 1, Septi.
Fails, gonna get stopped by Nair, but shouldn't be too much. The Fiora just gonna be a little bit peeved. Not sure if Nair can actually turn this. Probably doesn't want to, doesn't have the TP available. The wave is kind of bad for him. We'll just opt to trade some HP with the Lulu and go hunting for a fruit. But there's none to be found in the river there, as Nair, all that's left, try and go back to the wave. And this might be a little bit scary. No flash or barrier onto Zeha yet in a fairly decent wave, but no, not going to go for a dive as their jungler is on the dragon. Bounty Hunter going to be checking this. It is very solo and very aggressive for this Talia to try and go in, but will not do so as Nair. And I just try and keep trading, and this is sort of the status quo that we're going to get to until someone gets caught out, until one of the supports goes for a move. We have not really been seeing too much in the way of big fights. As Slappy Joe, though,
Chemoplay gonna get dropped. Nair gonna be forced to flash away under tower. Does not have teleport available, as Marco does have the Orin Horn. Gonna see if they're gonna be able to get it, but no! Polymorph, Counter-Strike, everything will be used to stop the Akuma Distortion support from being able to drop that knock-up. That's gonna lead to Akuma Distortion's 7th kill. And a power play for a couple of seconds here. No teleport on Marco either. And a huge minion wave going into that tower. Nostalgia's gonna have to stop farming in the jungle to pick that up, as Gecko is still far away.
Bales has been, really having a good series so far. That fight there, that polymorph was critical to making that happen. And early on, even in game 1, had crucial roams to make things happen. And I mean, this Lulu is looking really good right now. Your 80 carry Zeha, 2-0 on this Jinx. Does have a shutdown though, so needs to be a little bit careful on every single member on this bot side of the map. Good farming. Not really by anyone. I feel like it's been a little bit bloody for there to be good farming. The top lane has been trading a whole lot. And Slappy Joe, having gotten the flash off of Nair, is going to potentially look for a refight once their Hemoplate comes up and is available, but the wave is oh so good for the Akuma top laner. And I mean, look at the gold right now. It is 1.4k in favor of Akuma right now, or sorry, 2.4k. I don't know how to do math. As Slappy Joe actually taking a bit of a nasty trade there, trying to just get some HP on to Nair.
And yeah, we go back to laning phase. Just about to breach that 10-minute mark. Just about to have the second phase of Void Grub spawn. Akuma Distortion picking up the first 3 relatively easily. And bounties in the mid lane and the bottom lane for Bounty Hunter and Zeha respectively. And a Majai Soul or a Dark Seal coming in for Slappy Joe on the Vladimir. As a ward is going to be able to catch out Nostalgia in the top lane. Slappy Joe gonna drop the Hemoplague as Nair is going to try to survive this. Cannot do it. Slappy Joe is gonna outplay Nair and get 2 stacks on that Dark Seal.
I think that's, I mean, it's a big mistake from Nostalgia there to back in a bush where I believe Nair knew it was warded, was taking damage from minions, was getting autoed by minions on the wave despite being in the bush. So I think some miscommunication or some not paying attention exactly to what's going on in the lane there. They also saw and knew exactly where Cyankip was, but Slappy Joe though has flash, has the ignite, has their jungler nearby.
And there it is. Master at Arms will be enough, and Cyankip will go and pick up their third kill of the game. And this time there's no teleport for the Fiora, and a huge minion wave is going to be lost as well. As the Nostalgia is going to go in, does have the needlework available, but is going to be caught in the fray thanks to some good chompers. Dawning Shadow is there. Knockup coming in. Zea's low, but a great super mega death rocket will keep Zea alive, and they will flash away to safety using the barrier as well, as Marcote now going to potentially be a ball delivery system for Ember Wolves. Nope, they will opt against it. And that is going to be another winning play for Akuma Distortion, now 10-1 here in game 2.
Yeah, Zeha actually going to stick around. So is Burger King. This might be a little bit disastrous potentially for the Akuma bot lane if they try and overstay for this wave. Shockwave is available. Marcote has no mana though. But Burger King definitely has the damage to knock down Zeha here potentially, as Cyankip gonna catch Nostalgia. No E available.
Oh boy, a great Weaver's Wall as Marcote is gonna teleport in. Do they have Ornhorn? They do not. Just looking to be able to get that wave there, Septi. But everything is coming up. Akuma Distortion, they're gonna even find Nair in the river in that tribe rush. Gonna try to go for the grand challenge, but it will not be enough to keep the Fiora alive. That will be another kill, as all 5 members of Akuma Distortion now have a bounty on their heads, and this game is looking far worse for Ember Wolves than the first.
Oh, Gecko is gonna be here now. There's enough movement speed though, potentially. Cyankip though gonna fly.
Okay, double flashes there. Shockwave is going to land on the Cyankip, but they're going to be able to get the support from Thales, coming in with a great wild growth. Going to be able to use it with the leaping strike to be able to get away and take out Burger King. Another shield is there. Going to be able to get them down as a shutdown from Nostalgia comes in. But now we've got another great seismic shove from Bounty Hunter. Marcote is going to be low. Slappy Joe unable to finish the Ornn. They will get Nair down to less than half HP, and Zea's gonna go for the long-range play.
Not enough damage.
Not enough damage, but super close indeed.
It did hit Nair, but did not do enough damage to take them down. A very scary fight for the side of the Ember Wolves, and I don't know what's going on anymore. Marcote is not really with it right now. Maybe the state of the game taking them out of it a little bit mentally. It is hard. You start with a sub in game 1. Game 2, your jungler is playing maybe even a little bit too fast, or the rest of the map is just, you know, maybe a little bit tilted after game 1. Or, I mean, I don't want to push this narrative, but maybe, you know, just the edge fell off a little bit from last week. You know, you lose, you don't scrim for a week because you think you're out of the tournament. All of a sudden, game day comes and, you know, you're expected to perform like a team that's been preparing for this all week. And I don't know, maybe there's just something to that there. But I mean, Akuma, to their credit, is looking absolutely crazy right now. They're just playing, they're firing on all cylinders. Cyankip has been, you know, at every single play, fails both games in a row, has started the ball rolling in, you know, both games. There is a potential angle onto the spot side here, though. They will get spotted on that crab and river, but Akuma knows it's happening. Nostalgia popping that goes. Chompers are out. Here comes the call of the Forge God, though. Zeha, no flash. Gonna dodge the ram, though.
Oh my god, beautiful flash coming in from Thales. Gonna be able to stay alive a little bit longer, but that is gonna be a shutdown going the way of Gecko. But now Bounty Hunter's gonna come in.
Oh, Bounty Hunter.
Kill, using that empowered Q in that seismic shove to be able to take them out, and that's going to mean the bottom lane is now dead. Nostalgia's going to come back. Another great seismic shove from Bounty Hunter, and that's going to leave Akuma Distortion's mid laner dominating 6-0 and 6. Meanwhile, Cyankip will take the Rift Herald, and a tier 1 tower in the mid lane is about to fall as well.
Can we just take a second to appreciate the XP lead that Slappy Joe currently has? That is their lane opponent in the lane with them, and they are up a full 2 levels, maybe 2.5 levels even, as Nair just dinged level 9 there on this wave. Slappy Joe is an item and a half. It's working towards what I believe is going to be a death cap second, most likely, as that is a trend that a lot of Vladimirs like to go for. As Nair, though, is not looking at their own screen. Cyan Kip just going to be bashing their face in. Nair going to miss the Q over the wall as, hold on, Vladimir gets rooted up here by Slappy Joe. Here comes the Hemoplague Marcote, taking a lot of damage from Zeha, but the heal from the Hemoplague should keep Slappy Joe all topped up. And on the side there, off screen, after we panned away, Nair was forced to flash as they failed their lunge over the wall. And it is looking very, very nice. If you are a fan of Akuma tonight, they're doing a really nice job. Up 10,000 gold at 16 minutes, up 19-3 in kills. No dragon, but 6 scrubs to their name. And it's looking pretty good for the roadside here in game number 2. Items are completed for most of the members of this Ember Wolf side. Fiora very close to finishing her Ravenous Hydra. Should have it soon. Probably not in time for this dragon, but the scaling advantage is in favor, I believe, of this blue side here. They have the Ornn, they have the Senna, they have the Gwen. And I mean, we talk about this all the time when people draft champions like Fiora. It is the split push potential of a champion like that that really is what you play around. That really is your angle back into the game. I know it's a little rough. Nair down XP, down gold to their lane opponent, but eventually once this Fiora starts getting items, once she starts getting gold, can start to have her own, but it's so tough to stare down the barrel of a Vladimir that is 3 levels above you. Oh, man.
It is a rough situation, and you look at the CS, it tells the story here as well. There just has not been a moment where Ember Wolves has been able to catch a breath in this series so far. They just have not been able to find a moment where they can start to really show what they're capable of. And unfortunately, now Akuma Distortion, calling out this early Gwen play from Ember Wolves, being able to be so aggressive in the early game. We're already at such an aggressive point in the game for Akuma Distortion, and we're not even 20 minutes in, with multiple items completed, almost a fully stacked Dark Seal on Slappy Joe. All they need to do is just find another great fight, but Fails might have been caught out here, is going to be knocked up, is going to be relatively in trouble. Wild Growth is up, and they're going to get hit by that Dawning Shadows. This time they're going to get hit by the Ornn, and that is going to be a shutdown for Marcote, as Bounty Hunter going to try to be able to take out Gecko, but no, it'll be Slappy Joe being able to clean that one up. Cyan Kip will be able to take out Nostalgia, as Marcote will go down to Zeha. And what might have been the best opportunity for Akuma Distortion, it will end up being a 3-for-1. Rift Herald will get played in the top lane, will most definitely...
it'll be a double charge too.
Yeah, we'll be able to get that headbutt.
Oh, it'll be a double charge, watch. Oh, it's not. Oh, interesting. Never mind.
They might be able to go for it. Yes, they will. Oh, a little bit too early there. Needed to get out that inhibitor, but they will be able to take out Gecko, as Marcote is also dead. Nair very low. Parry's gonna fall, but Nair's gonna die to the Plague unless they get into Fountain. No, they do not quickly enough. Oh boy, this is one of those games where you're just like, okay, go next.
This is one of the hold on, let me finish that for you. This is one of those games where you use Ornn ulti on a Lulu solo, right?
Yeah.
That Cyan Kip gonna get the stone onto 2 traps are down. Marcote gonna be able to head charge through that steering charge through that before the traps actually go online. 2 inhibitors down at 19 minutes into the game. It is looking dire for the side of Ember Wolves here in game number 2 of this finals. Gecko trying to send a message, flashing forward onto Bounty Hunter.
Gonna be able to land the root. Marcote does not have Ornn yet, but Zeha is gonna be able to get a nice alley. A play in there. Zeha will pick up their 5th kill of the game. Gecko dead for another 20 seconds. As Akuma Distortion are denying Ember Wolves any opportunity to get into the jungle as well. With 2 inhibitors down, they should be able to get this Baron relatively easily. And if not, that team fight should be just a wallet drop for them. And so Ember Wolves, very high uphill battle, if not impossible to come back from this one.
Yeah, I mean, it should, in theory, be a barren and end for the side of Akuma Distortion, but you cannot simply hope that the side of Ember Wolves are just going to sit and roll over. you have to be prepared for them to actually take the play to you. But no, with this wave in mid going in, it most likely will be a start onto the Baron, as we already see Slappy Joe trying to hit it on that top side. We are winding down to a potential game-ending fight here as items completed. 2 items completed now on Burger King, to the 2.5 completed on Bounty Hunter, the 2.5 completed on Zeha, the 3 items if you count the Medjais on Slappy Joe. Dragon going to be spawning in 50 seconds time, but I imagine we will not live to see this dragon spawn unless for some reason Akuma are trying to inflict maximum mental damage as Chappy DCs in the mid lane.
Yeah, we do get a DC here from Bounty Hunter. Should be back momentarily, but even then, I think that Akuma Distortion now with the significant gold lead that they have might have been able to win the 4v5. I don't think that they're going to be able to win the 3v5, even with the Baron up. So we'll probably wait for them to come back, and
Should be back shortly.
should be back shortly. When I look back at this game, though, like, was this game finished in draft?
No, it was not.
No? Okay.
I don't think so. I think that the game was finished shortly after draft. Once that 3v3, 4v4 in the mid lane happened, when, Cyan Kip ended up with a kill, Bounty Hunter ended up with a kill, Bales ended up with a kill, and I believe Zeha as well, or maybe Cyan Kip ended up with 2 kills. It was Cyan Kip with 2 kills, Jinx with 1 kill, and Fails with 1 kill. And it was, that when you give up that much gold that early on and you lose all those summoner spells, it becomes so much harder to play the game, especially when you're a composition like the one that Ember Wolves has that really just wants to sit and scale and, stonewall the game. That happened on the bot side of the map, but on the top side as well, Slappy Joe just winning in the 1v1. Using the vision to their advantage, catching Nair off guard, like jumping into second, then Nostalgia finishes their base in that bush. It's plays like that that blow the game open. It's not a draft. People could say it's a draft thing. People could say it's a comfort thing, but let's not forget that, Akuma tried to change their draft, right? They tried to change their R5 after it was completed, and they were denied. They were forced to put the Jax in jungle when maybe they would have wanted to play with a Kindred instead and put Jax top lane into Fiora, but I feel like you can't complain at this point. Your Vlad is 6-0-3. They're up. Caddy, can we show the gold graph while we're chilling here? I know we're gonna potentially cut to a break in 30 seconds. Oh no, just kidding. We are back. We are back at it, baby. 30 seconds until this dragon spawn, but I do want to go over this gold real quick. 5,000 in favor of Slappy Joe on this top side. It is even a bigger gold gap than it was in game number 1. And that sort of follows parity across the rest of the map. Jungle being the next biggest lead, and then the bottom 3 members a little bit more respectable, but still very far apart. Looks like Akuma are trying to inflict maximum mental damage in this game. I said it might be possible earlier on, but they're going to try and take every single bit that Ember Wolves owns. They're going for the bot tower now, really trying to make sure that this game is not losable. It's not losable now, but they really want to make sure they get everything. While coming in from Bounty Hunter should allow them to free hit this tower. Shockwave onto 3 though. Ornhorn coming down.
Oh boy, great start from Ember Wolves, but there just isn't enough damage for them to back it up as the Hemoblade drop. Oh my lord, it is a slaughter. Leave them alone. Zeha did go down, so it is not a clean.
That's a win.
Clean play for Akuma Distortion, but the result is the same. Game 2 and match point will be on Akuma Distortion. 7-0-12 on Bounty Hunter, 7-0-6 on Slappy Joe with a 20 stacked Magi Soul Stealer. That is the game that we want, and for some reason I'm blurry again. I think it just might be Ember Wolves just being a little bit blurry in what they want to do in these games.
Can't be saying that, all right? Just because it's more or less a straight line of a gold lead and it was consistent the entire game, you cannot say that. All right, that is disrespectful. Anyway, hey, look at the parry though. Look at the damage share of the Ember Wolves. That is, I feel like I never see that. I feel like I've never seen all 5 members be within 1,000 damage of each other. Or I guess technically that's not the case, because Ornn did, 1.1k more than the Gwen. But anyway, a very complete game from the side of Akuma there. The bot side fight happened, and then not a lot else happened on the bot side until we got into team fights. And, I have to say, I feel like this is sort of the same as game number 1. Slappy Joe and Cyan just sort of did their thing on the map and kind of drove the whole game. 2 dragons taken in 20 or so minutes. And it looks like Akuma, I said it in game, they are here to play. They are here to have a quick night. They want to take their finals and go off into the sunset, enjoy their win. And they're looking primed to do it. 2-0 up against the Ember Wolves. And it feels bad because, you lost to a team that was cheating. And you get to play. But then your jungler, is massively taken out of the headspace of being prepared for a finals because they're praying to God that their power comes back by the time the game starts. It doesn't, despite the game being pushed back a half hour, and has to come back, with no warm up, because obviously no power means no PC, which means not even custom tool to get your hands warm. No warm up game, is having to come in and just play against a team that is firing on all cylinders. That's just the state of it.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, but it's just, and what it is unfortunate for the Ember Wolves. These are the circumstances that they're in.
Unfortunately, it is unfortunate that it is what it is, which is unfortunate. Okay. We're going to take a quick break before we jump into draft for game 3. We'll see you guys soon.
Feel
Welcome back, everybody, to game 3. I'm gonna have to fix this during the winter break. I don't understand what is going on here with my camera, but regardless, we are here in game 3. We are ready to start the draft. Does look like we are going to be getting a side swap moving in to this game, which I like, because I want to see what Ember Wolves is going to be able to do with potentially some counter picks here. In this one, it's the last game where they're going to get side selection if it does go to game 4 or game 5, and it's going to be the last game we're going to be seeing all the bans empty.
Yeah, I mean, when this game goes to 4, we're going to drop it down to 3 bans a team. But yeah, it is do or die time. Ember Wolves has said blue side with our sub didn't work. Blue side with our main roster didn't work. It is time to go for counter picks. And I think, it's not even the worst thing in the world, because there are a whole lot of champions now off the board. A lot of those things that you'd want to pick at blue 1, I think Ashe really is the only thing left that is sort of, your top choice for blue 1. And so counter pick becomes that much more valuable. I'm thinking of picks that, are still really important on blue 1. I would think Caitlyn is one of them. Been seeing that, I believe, in some Kespa Cup and some of the Red Bull show matches that have been going on between T1 and some of the teams in Europe. If you haven't seen those, they're very entertaining, getting a quick glimpse, at what the pro play meta might be. And yeah, Caitlyn and Ashe taken off the board by Ember Wolves, not surprised there whatsoever. But on the other side, Akuma Distortion going very targeted, I believe, towards Nair on that top side, taking away a bunch of those fighters to allow for Slappy Joe to potentially, continue their run that they've been having this entire series. Yasuo, the last one taken off the board. I really like this. You deny the namesake of the mid laner in potentially the final game of the split. Burger King has been having, I would say, a rough series so far. Has not really been able to find much headway in the game. The Yone was pretty okay. The Orianna was pretty okay, but that's sort of all it's been, is just a little bit of, it's a little bit rude to call it mid, but hasn't really had those pop-up performances that I feel like we see from Burger King a lot of the time. Sort of 1v9s that we see out of this Ember Wolves mid laner. But now with this expands off the table, Hui was the last one. Jin gonna get picked up by Zeha in the AD carry spot.
Yeah, and we're getting different sides of Zeha and I think the series as a whole, with the Varus first pick and then the Jinx, and now you have that huge potential to swing team fights if you're in your favor, if you're able to land those curtain calls, if you're able to land those 4 shots and pick up the kills. And now Ember Wolves, Gecko and Marcote, I think, have been a stable duo in the bottom lane, have really been able to hold the line against Akuma Distortion, but it's been the rest of the team that has just really struggled with finding their identity in how they want to play the games and how they want to draft. Viego's going to be the first pickup here for Ember Wolves, probably going to be going into the jungle, but can go into that top lane for Nair. But considering that it's so early in the draft, I think we're going to be seeing it as a jungle pick.
I have a sneaking suspicion that this is going to be a Sion Kip Graves game. Just given the Jin, seeing Viego on the other side, it's at least a game that I would consider playing for it. Saya gonna get picked up alongside Viego. I'm not sure how I feel about it. It is a decent matchup into the Jin. You're able to dodge potentially the 4 shot or a big chunk of burst with the usage of the Featherstorm. Although versus Jin, a champion who can chase pretty well without really needing to walk into your feather pole, it's interesting. But Rakan gonna get denied from the Lovers duo. Pairs fairly decently with Jin. You're able to jump forward, auto, get the W proc potentially for your AD carry to go. It is not traditionally what we see with Jin. I feel like a lot of the time we see more damaging supports than setup supports, purely because Jin doesn't really do all that much damage in the early game, and so you kind of need that extra bit of damage coming from your support to really make the damage, to make the HP change stick on the bot side there. We'll have to see how they round out their first round of picks. They are going to miss the pick. It is a Zir for Akuma Distortion on blue 3. I don't know how I feel about this. It is a low to mid range mid laner that requires, going forward and chasing to really deal the damage, versus an AD carry that thrives on playing in the low to medium range with their feathers. And so I don't know, we'll have to see. Ember Wolves though gonna lock in a very nice answer with that Ari.
I agree, and I love that the Ari pick is now here. A lot of mobility, going to be able to get around Curtain Call, going to be able to get around Quickness, going to be able to get around the Emperor's Divide, as Garen is going to get taken away from Ember Wolves. But what this is signaling to me here, Septi, with Akuma picking up so much late game damage, is that they might be looking to go for the jugular here in the early game, top side, go for something that can really pop off in the early game, get that momentum going as it has been doing in both games 1 and 2. Leona gonna get taken away. That is my prediction here, Septi. I don't know if maybe that's what you're looking at.
I mean, I feel like if those first 2 games have told us anything, it's to stop doubting the Akuma drafts. They're just playing a little bit better right now, so they have the luxury of choice as to what they pick. And yeah, I think you're right. Akuma going for those early plays. I think this mid laner is just a little bit different in play style though from what they've had. Yes, you had Talia, yes, you had Syndra, but Azir does not do the same kind of burst that the other 2 do. Nautilus and Leona taken off the board, 2 very powerful engaged supports. Nautilus has also been a champion that has been being splashed in the top side. I don't imagine it'll go here, but it is a very good pickup, potentially blind, potentially flex on 4. So Akuma Distortion doing their due diligence. Rel is a great champion here in this setup. Yes, you have Azir, but there's no one that can stop the Rel from going in currently. You can obviously pick Poppy jungle, but Rakan's not going to interrupt you. Azir, unless they're really on point, is not going to interrupt you. And the Jhin cannot interrupt the Rel. So a lot of really hard, really solid engage from Ember Wolves. The Xayah, I imagine, is just a comfort pick here, for Gecko. Just something to try and keep them in it. Cassandra going to get locked in, though. Very strong blind.
Yeah, I'm going to, I think, be able to handle a lot of what Nair could potentially go for, especially now with so many top lane champions taken off the table here. I think that we're looking for Ember Wolves to maybe go for something a little bit more frontline, but Cassandra has been so present in League of Legends since they came out, and I think that they continue to be just so impactful. And Lilia is going to be the final champion for Akuma Distortion here in game 3, rounding out a composition that has a lot of mixed damage, a pretty decent frontline, and we'll have to see what Ember Wolves wants to go with. I was thinking a Darius might be a good play for Akuma, but maybe it's going to be the play here for Ember Wolves, and it is.
It is not a bad pickup for Ember Wolves here. It is a very strong matchup into the Cassandra. It also is not really switchable. You can't really lane swap currently in this game for Akuma. I think with your Jhin, it is not strong enough to potentially dive the Darius. Also with Lilia, you really want a jungler that is more or less a low econ jungler that can actually make the trek up to go for that dive, and this is not that. But I mean, I think your X factors, or at least the X factors so far this series on Cassandra, on Lilia, are swapping to a role that is less game defining. I feel like they are, they're putting the brakes on. They're playing to do the team game instead of playing for the getting gold portion, or at least they've swapped positions, because Slappy Joe on the last 2 champions has just been purely playing for the 1v1, playing for the lane, playing to maximize their gold intake, whereas Cyan Kip, I mean, this Lilia, I feel like is similar with her playstyle, is trying to play to invade, to deny camps. In the first 2 games, just had a very strong lead, so was able to duel a little bit earlier on. But I think this Ember Wolves team, they definitely have a composition that is much better at countering the style that Akuma Distortion have been playing the first 2 games. It is a lot more skirmish heavy. They are able to match them a lot earlier on in the game. And so these early game fights that, when one team is scaling, one team is skirmishing, are not necessarily anymore going to be, the Akuma side having the advantage because they picked that more skirmishy early style composition. It is going to be a lot more even, and so much so I feel like Ember Wolves have the advantage, and now the roles have been flipped. Akuma now focusing more on scaling, now focusing more on playing the game smart and controlled and not flipping it on these early fights that we've been seeing so far this game or this series so far. And for Ember Wolves, I think in a game 3, in a do or die moment, being able to take the game into your hands with a composition like this is exactly what you want to see.
And with that, let's go ahead and jump into the Dragon Draft. It was an Infernal Soul in game 2, which will give you another point. I'm going to start with Mountain Soul here in game 3.
I'm going to stick with Cloud and Ocean.
Cloud and Ocean. Alrighty. Just gonna keep going on down the line. I'm gonna go with Hextech and Chemtech, so I'm gonna give you the content Drake once again.
Give me another OG Drake.
And for Ember Wolves, I mean, they're looking for content here. We want to see more content in this series, and for them to do that, they're gonna have to make it to a game 4 situation. They're going to be on a rough road ahead, but it can indeed be done, especially with this Fearless draft now coming into play. We're going to take a quick break to jump in to this game and continue this series. We'll see you guys soon. Welcome back, everybody, to Game 3 here in the Grand Finals of the AML. Akuma Distortion looking to make this a quick night here. Very fast Game 2, and are looking to do the same in this one. 5-man start once again for the squad, as they will be able to get Nostalgia out of the top side, be able to drop a little bit of warding of their own. Will they get much more out of it? I don't think so. As we go back to resetting.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to get more vision, trying to keep Nostalgia on their toes. It has been a rough series for the jungler. Don't know how I feel about this. You know how we're top laning here, but Nostalgia isn't a ward. Fails might just flash W this.
And we'll see, and they will. They're gonna get the knock up. Flash forced, Dark Harvest for Zeha, flash for flash, and Nostalgia now going to be limping over to their blue buff. Cyankip will start Raptors red and disrupt Nostalgia in this series once again.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be flash off of fails, so not the end of the world, but it will be. I mean, I'm surprised about this a little bit because I said it wouldn't happen in draft, so minus points for me. But it's going to be the lane swap. It's going to be, you know, Zeha and Fails on that top side there. Going to be trying to zone off Nair from as much XP and gold as possible. Cyankip will come up towards the top side. And no TP on Nair. Oh, that is really bad. That is really, really, really bad.
Oh,
taking any damage here. Yes, you get a bit of XP, but look who's right there waiting for the Darius, waiting for the wave to get crashed. They're going to do it on 2. So it's not going to be a 3-stack wave, but it doesn't matter. Nair does not have TP available to them. We'll spot the Lilia. But does have flash. There is a chance to outplay this here. Has flash and ghost.
And we'll see what they are able to do. As Fail's not going to be able to land the knockup. Going to be hit with an auto attack. Trying to bounce the turret plating. No, Cyankip will not get rewarded for this very hefty investment. But we are still seeing a very aggressive wave coming in. Marcode is going to come forward into it, and now here is another dive attempt. Flash is still available for Nair. Can First Blood get taken by Akuma? Distortion as here comes Marcode. Going to be able to get the stun, and First Blood is going to go the way of Ember Wolves. Huge opportunity for them at the start of this game.
I mean, Marcode got the kill. It's not the end of the world, but it is still kind of disastrous. You know, Fails uses Flash earlier on, gets a great play to stop Nostalgia from being able to start on the same side. I feel like, you know, that play would have been as successful if, you know, they just let Cyankip go back to farming and had just been autoing Nair that entire time, because they saw on the Ghost Ward that Marco was there. Nostalgia has Flash, or sorry, Cyankip has Smite, I meant to say. I got both of those things wrong in that sentence. But yeah, nothing much going to be happening. I mean, Nostalgia is going to have the advantage currently in XP. I'm not sure where they dropped CS. Are missing 2 currently. Potentially got pushed off of some grubs, or some Krugs rather. And so we'll ding 4 though for the crab, as Nair is still just trying to get some gold and some XP in this lane. On the other side of the map though, Slappy Joe farming a little bit better than Nair. Smite from Cyankip is very nice.
No flash available though, as Cyankip could potentially be in trouble though. Those chickens were not worth it, as Nostalgia will be able to take out the Lilia. Gonna give 300 gold over to the Viego. And we'll continue the assault for the Ember Wolves here in the early game. This is exactly what they need to be doing to not allow Akuma Distortion to even get into this one. As we are going to get another play here in the top lane. Zeha does have Flash available. Barrier is up, but they're going to get hit by the Apprehend. That's Fails, actually, as Fails will go down. 3 kills now for Ember Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of the pace you want to be pushing if you are. I mean, it's 2,000 gold in favor of Ember Wolves currently. This is the pace you want to be pushing. The lane swap has been an absolute disaster for Akuma, as Slappy Joe very low now from Gecko. Should not go down, but is taking a lot of damage in this lane swap, and Gecko has been getting solo XP this entire time. The Xayah a whole level up on this Jhin now. And I mean, let's be honest, the biggest recipient of this lane swap probably has been Gecko, just because, you know, I mean, your top and your jungle have a kill. Your AD carry has been farming, you know, unperturbed this entire time. Slappy Joe gonna stop the base and is now level 6. Gecko did share some XP early on with Marcode, so the XP disparity is there, but now the lanes have swapped back. Slappy Joe gonna be forced to base, because Nair with that full HP, with the boots and with the items, are very, very strong in this moment. But there is a Lilia here.
And no ward. They do not know that they are on the way, and now Slappy Joe is going to initiate. Void Grubs will spawn, but it's actually going to be a play in the bottom lane that is going to potentially give Akuma Distortion their first kill of this game, and it will go to Slappy Joe on this Cassante.
Well, 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 where have we seen this before? Slappy Joe getting the first advantage on this Akuma side. The Grubs will go the way of Ember Wolves, but it doesn't really matter for the time being. I think Akuma got the playoff that they wanted. Nostalgia actually is eating fairly good in this game. Is even, despite the early play, is even on XP. Is you know, ahead a little bit, I believe, in gold, just about 100 or so. So not super far ahead, as Fails getting jumped on by Marcode, but taking absolutely no damage from Gecko. Cyankip, have you bitten off more than you can chew?
As Nair is going to go for the Ghost. Emperor's Divide. Going to be Summoner Spell for Ultimate there. But they will not be able to get that blue buff. Hextech Dragon is available for either team to pick up, as Fails will find Marco once again. Going to get hit by the stun. Will be walking away. But neither team's going to be able to get the dragon, and Cyankip is going to be thwarted once again here in this contest.
Yeah, we're going to swap our lanes back. That wave on the bot side, I think, let me double check, is super nice for Zeha, is slow pushing back towards the Akuma side. And so we'll be very primed for the Jin to come pick up. Gecko as well, forced to push on that top side, which will land in Slappy Joe's lap very nicely. And I mean, Cyankip still farming very well, has more or less a full jungle to take. Same with Nostalgia, but I believe some of the camp levels might be a little bit different for Cyankip. I believe they are at one level higher than the camps of Nostalgia. I might double check that, but doesn't matter. Both are level 6 for the time being. The ulti available on Viego is a massive spike, as it does allow you to get those resets more efficiently in fights if they are to break out. But the gold lead has stabilized. It is now down to 1,000 from the 1.5 to 2 it was earlier on. And the CSing has gotten better. Zeha has really picked up the pace when it comes to this AD carry farming, and the lanes once again are swapped back to their normal states, as Nair and Gecko trying very hard to keep their matchups standard in this game. And I mean, so far it has only been a benefit to the side of Ember Wolves, this lane swap, and by the grace of some good jungle pathing, the Cyankip and Slappy Joe get back into this one, but no one with a complete item earlier on this game. I mean, I think from the first 2 games, Moose, this has been a breath of fresh air. We are less than a kill every 2 minutes.
Oh boy.
It is, yeah. or we're basically at a kill every 2 minutes. So it is nice. But yeah, we have paused.
Yeah, we're gonna get another pause here. Connection issues have been a bother here in this series, but we appreciate y'all's patience. And like you were alluding to, and I think like we wanted, we got 2 very exciting, very high octane games at the start of this series, and so it is nice to see where this early game macro play, who is going to have the advantage. And so far, Akuma Distortion has tried to go for some flashy plays, and Ember Wolves have been there, have been able to respond to that challenge. The gold lead, like you said, only 1,000 gold up, but they were able to pick up those 3 Void Grips, the first time that they're going to have a little bit more of that sieging damage in this series, and it's not been just this absolute slaughter for Akuma Distortion. So we're going to take a quick break while we get this pause completed. When we come back, we'll jump in to the remainder of this game.
You were saying?
Well, we were gone for like 2 seconds.
I mean, we're about to be back. I believe a member of the Ember Wolves was using the bathroom after the lag issues were resolved from the side of Akuma, so we can continue jabbering on slightly and praise the fact that Ember Wolves have kept this game very close despite the state of the first 2 games. You can see Nostalgia's warmed up now, is not going for as greedy of plays as before. We are unpausing now, so be prepared for a slight stutter when we get back into it, but it should resolve itself fairly shortly, unless we're getting absolutely trolled and it's just going to stick at 0. But it is what it is. Riot Games moment. But I mean, Nostalgia warmed up. I think they have the better composition to play for the next 10 minutes or so. Once Lilia and once Azir start really getting their items, it will become hard. I think the fact that Zeha has not been accelerated in this game is really allowing Ember Wolves to stay a little bit ahead of the curve and ahead of the wave clear that a Jhin with a full lethality item would be able to get. Some nice warding from Fails to spot this dragon take is going to be very nice, although the ward is spotted by the members of Ember Wolves, but it does not matter. This dragon is getting absolutely destroyed. Hextech going down, and it will be Mountain. So Moose, the odds are not in your favor for this soul once again.
Well, hey, if I get that hat trick, I'll be happy. We'll see if I get it.
God, the XP advantage on top side.
Yeah, 8-2-6.
Again?
Well, I mean, we know why it happened. This is an understandable reason why Nair is behind, but it is interesting to see Nair just been behind the 8 ball in this entire series. As Cyankip going to drop a ward deep inside Ember Wolves territory. Void Grubs spawning shortly for either team to potentially pick up. It does look like Nostalgia does want to fight for it. Can be seen by that ward though, as Zayon fails. Not gonna go for the back yet. And we're gonna see both Marcote and Gecko go into different lanes, and so we might be seeing a skirmish here by Ember Wolves. And we might get to see what Zeha and Veils are able to do in the bottom lane in a 2v1.
Yeah, and a bit of miscommunication coming out from the Ember Wolves here. A lagged delay. As you can see, Xayah walking from bot lane towards that top side. They tried to do a bot to top swap to try and play for the second set of grubs, and got a little bit goofy, but it doesn't matter. We'll be there in time. The grubs will be spawning in 10 seconds, and it looks like Akuma not even going to try and fight these. I think these grubs are very good for this Ember Wolf side. You have the Aura, you have the Darius that are later on in the game going to vastly outmatch their lane opponents inside. But Zeha is taking this time to instead try and get plates on the bot side. And I think quite smartly, Burger King is roaming down here, or at least fogging, to try and give the appearance of covering a dive, but there is no dive to be had from the Akuma side. It is instead just going to be Lilia trying to go for an invade here and take back some camps that were stolen from her earlier on in the game. Still 4 jungle snacks up, but the Lilia will get spotted. It is a very dangerous time to be a Lilia in the red side jungle. Cyan Kip.
Ghost is going to be there, but now Fails is going to go in. Does not yet have the ultimate available, but Zeha does. But no mana, and Nair is going to find the Demacian Guillotine, and now Fails is dangerously low. Burger King going to flash forward, and that'll be enough with the hemorrhage to be able to take it out. But Zeha wants to try to get that execute. It does look like they will be able to get it. And they do. So a 2-for-nothing play. Ember Wolves calling the bluff.
Yeah, I mean, this has sort of been the trend this game. I think Cyan Kip maybe feeling a little bit overconfident from the first 2 games, has not really had the same kind of success in the invades that they had in the first 2. And I mean, getting caught twice in the enemy jungle, losing out on a bunch of kills and gold is really unfortunate. I mean, they walked over a ward to go in. They didn't have push in mid. They didn't know where Rel was. Your Jhin was backed off the wave as well, so could not even join in time. So it's a little bit greedy to be going for a play like that. And I mean, rightfully so. Ember was doing a great job punishing it. And again, the gold lead still just a little bit under 1,000, so not really gaining too much from a play like that. Still just denying Cyan Kip the invade opportunity. But Nair on a ward. Slappy Joe will not be fooled by this Darius trying to hide in the fog. Critically though, Flash was taken off of this Darius, so there is a world where Cyan Kip can go down, where, you know, Fails can go down to the bot side and try and pick up a kill onto Nair, or potentially a play onto this tower. So it looks like Fails trying to bait here. No, just instead calling for Bounty Hunter to give them a way over the wall. And we've sort of mellowed out a little bit, although I gotta say that CS on the Darius is not very fun looking.
No, Nair has had a rough CSing series in all 3 games. You know, close to getting eclipsed here in this one as well. As we take a look at items, Slappy Joe, very tanky with those 2 chain vests. First item completed for Cyan Kip, Bounty Hunter, and Zeha. Yomu's once again the pick for the ADC of Akuma Distortion. Essence Reaver getting completed, as well as that Malignance. Kraken Slayer unlocked for Nostalgia. All 3 of them having a pretty clean early game, so gonna be confident there. Slappy Joe gonna try to get 1 more turret plate down before the turret plates fall, and we'll do that with the Demolish. But is it too much? As Noxian Guillotine going to be available, all out, gonna come in, and Slappy Joe gonna fall, but it might be the save from Cyan Kip. Gonna get a great swirl seed into the Lilting Lullaby, but do they have enough healing? Do they have enough damage? Nair! No! That is 2 more kills for Ember Wolves.
Wait, did Nostalgia just grab the all-out form of Viego? Did I see that right? Is that how that's supposed to work?
I'm not sure.
I know I'm
Okay.
And I know I'm the color caster, but I didn't think that was the interaction. Because that looked like a lot of damage coming out from the Viego. I know Riddy's in chat. Riddy, can you check on that for me, please? Just because I have no idea. Really? Okay, well, it is confirmed.
Very cool. And we're gonna get another play here potentially for Akuma Distortion, Burger King. No Spirit Rush available. Gonna try to go for a little bit of harassment on to the Ari, who does not have flash. Charm is gonna land though. Gonna be able to get the knockup, but is gonna be forced to go away. Turret shots are going to be pretty rough there. And now Spirit Rush is available. No teleport available though for the Ari, as Rift Herald gonna be started and should get taken by Akuma Distortion. No aggressive response from Ember Wolves yet. They're not gonna be able to take a tower. Rift Herald will get taken, and I think they get it relatively cleanly.
Yeah, I mean, with Zeha getting that kill in the mid lane onto Gecko, it really opened up the map enough for them to go for that play. So well played to the side of Akuma there to get that Herald there. It should allow them potentially to knock down a tower, as Bounty Hunter is getting very greedy here. Burger King, no Spirit Rush available, so shouldn't be in too much danger, but Nostalgia is there trying to go for it. It's going to use the Shroud.
Gonna get the stun, and now here comes a teleport. Flash coming in from Bounty Hunter. Slappy Joe is now here. Still gonna have the Heartbreaker available for Nostalgia, but they're gonna walk away, gonna leave Burger King to their own devices. And that's gonna be a shutdown for Cyan Kip. Does still have Lilting Lullaby just about up and available. Knockup gonna be landing in on Marco. Not gonna be able to get away from tower, but this World Seed not gonna be landing. I don't know if Slappy Joe has Demolish available. Does look like they will, as they're going to try to aggressively push that lane forward. Marco's going to land another double stun, as we are going to get almost a full HP back again for Nostalgia, but they are going to land it on to the Viego though, and so Nostalgia's still going to be able to deal massive amounts of damage. Heartbreaker up and fails is dangerously low. Gonna go down. Cyan Kip is gonna be able to take out Marco, as they're gonna be able to get away from that second round of Heartbreaker, and Slappy Joe will get the shutdown onto the Ember Wolf jungler. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we're getting a tower down in the inner. We're gonna get an inner tower almost down in the mid lane, and an absolutely chaotic game will continue to be chaotic, as Slappy Joe, who initially was able to take out Burger King, will probably fall to the Ari, and indeed will.
Yeah, I mean, solo kill on the bot side for Nair, a 2 for 2 in when all is said and done on the top side. It is and a 1 for 0 in the mid lane, so a 3 for 2 we'll call it, or a 4 for 2 I guess we'll call it, in favor of Ember Wolves. It looked like a really good play for Akuma there, but they ended up overstaying, trying to get the tower in that extra wave, and Burger King TP'd in, used the Spirit Rush, and got a kill on to Slappy Joe. This game is wild. I was not expecting this kind of comeback from Ember Wolves. I'm really happy that they were able to make it happen, that they're able to find the confidence to come back with a composition like this. But we're seeing a lot of clean rotations and, you know, good map plays coming out from the side of Akuma, right? You saw that TP, we saw the roam up from Fails with a great engage onto Marcote, who was not really able to stay safe. But then in the mid lane again, we saw Gecko punching back, getting that solo kill onto Zeha, who had no sums available to them. And on the bot side as well, Nair getting that solo kill on to Bounty Hunter, who was forced to use that Emperor's Divide earlier on to stay alive from the Nostalgia gank, who I could say finally has arrived. It took a game for Nostalgia to get in, and now we are here. Now we are ready to go. As another pause, some more lag, I believe, for Slappy Joe. As I believe Nostalgia is causing it a Fnatic pause.
Oh boy, I don't know what's going on here with the servers today, but it sure is entertaining to say the least. Fimble winner gonna be just about completed for Slappy Joe, about 100 stacks away. Almost 2 items for most of the members of Ember Wolves, and that's equating to that 4,000 gold lead that we're seeing. I think it has been buoyed a little bit thanks to Akuma Distortion being able to get a good amount of turret plating before that 14-minute mark. So they're still relatively in it. And I'm looking at that 5-stack Dark Seal from Cyan Kip, along with this next dragon spawning in a minute's time, and an opportunity for them to potentially go for a play here with that. Maybe get some standing gold on the table, or maybe go for a team fight.
Yeah, I worry a little bit with regard to what champion on this red side is going to be able to kill the Cassante. I'm not, that concerned. I mean, you have the Darius who will, if they're able to get a bunch of stacks, be able to do that. But Slappy Joe is not going to be a very squishy champion, and especially considering Gecko is going for Essence Reaver into Flicker Blade, might be doing not a whole lot of damage as the charm. Gonna drag Slappy Joe out of the Pathmaker with a little bit of a pause on the side. But don't worry, we'll get right back to your regular programming in just a moment. As Marauder is here to cover. A lot of good damage though coming out from Burger King, as there is no MR on this Cassante. As the engage coming, Slappy Joe might not have a choice here.
And now we got Nostalgia gonna find Zeha caught out. Barrier not quite up yet. Oh boy, and Ember Wolves gonna try to go for it, but here comes the ultimate. Here comes a massive play from Akuma Distortion. Lilting Lullaby, huge for them as Akuma gets 3 for 2. Dragon is up in just a minute. 30 seconds until Baron. And maybe what Akuma needs to keep this game going.
Yeah, Zeha should be the first AD carry up from the gray screen, but Cyankip does not know that Nair is here.
Oh,
doesn't matter though.
Boy, Cyankip though does get hit back into it. Does have the moving scene to be able to get away from Nocturne Guillotine range.
Oh my god.
Oh no, I think they used it, but it wasn't enough damage.
Oh, no.
And they're gonna get the pseudo ace. And they might even be able to get some more out of this one. Rift Herald's gonna get hit into the mid lane. That should be a tower going
really
down.
Dangerous. This is really, really dangerous. They have not nearly enough HP to actually fight this. Nostalgia has the Heartbreaker available to them. Marauder is going to now spot the HP of Cyankip. Not quite sure if they see the HP of Fails. Nostalgia, though, going to get caught out in the Shroud here. Ulti comes down from Zeha. Interrupted, though, by Marauder. Heads up play from the Rel there to stop their jungler from going down. First Dragon of the game will go the way of Akuma. And it will be Cloud. So, unfortunately, no sweep for you. And a 3-0 currently for me. You better hope. I mean, you better hope if there's no reverse sweep possible. I have won the series.
You have won the series indeed.
Congratulations to me.
Congratulations to you. But I mean, what a great combo there with Bounty Hunter and Cyankip.
Oh, absolutely.
Emperor's Divide followed up by that Lilting Lullaby onto 3 members, getting so much shutdown gold as well. What was once a 4,000 gold lead has now been reduced to half. And you've shut down the dragon stacking as well for Ember Wolves. No early Cloud Soul for this series standards. As Baron is now up, Ember Wolves wants to maybe go for a play against Cyankip, who does have the Sea Bizarre Guard available, as well as that Lilting Lullaby. Fails is now going to come in, and this might be the engage for them. They're going to be able to land it in onto Nostalgia, going to be able to get them rooted, going to be able to get them stunned, and Nostalgia not even able to use Heartbreaker. Gonna have to use, or Burger King going to have to Spirit Rush away. Gecko gonna try to go for the Feathers Fly. We'll be able to get that shutdown onto Bounty Hunter. And now, can Akuma Distortion get any more out of this one?
On the bot side,
It doesn't look like it.
Nair's trying to get some split damage off onto the bot side. Will take that tower. No, that'll be the tower in the mid lane, but should be able to get this bot tower. 6 scrubs on the Darius. No Sheen proc though. And so it looks like Slappy Joe going to stop their base, going to instead try and assist their team on this Baron, and will be an inhib for Baron trade for the time being. Nostalgia up in 2 seconds. Marauder is back and on the map now with full HP. No ulti, but does have Ignite. As Nair might potentially try and push for more. No, will instead go back. 3 seconds on this Azir. 2 seconds, 1. The Baron is going to go down now in favor of Akuma. This will get them closer in gold, but still they are down 1,500 gold in this game. But just like the first 2, I believe that this Akuma side has a composition that if they're able to stall, if they're able to get some more items, it will do them better later on. I mean, I'm not going to kid myself. Viego, Ari, and Xayah all do fantastic with items and time. But when you're looking at champions like a Nazir, like a Cassante, like a Jhin, that really, really want to just get that little bit more damage, a little bit more resistances, it is so, so nice that Akuma have been able to slow this down. I think Nostalgia and Marco were doing a great job early on, despite the lane swap coming out from Akuma. And now It's a very, very hard stack on the spot side, trying to catch Iris Bounty Hunter in a mistake. But Cyankip gonna do some good work pushing Nair off that top wave and allowing their top laner to get set and really start pushing with Baron. As yeah, the stack on the spot side is really powerful. Bounty Hunter, no, gonna find Nostalgia.
Heartbreaker available, but no, going to be able to get out. And Cyankip is going to go golden, going to be able to get the sleep out of Nair. Now here comes Slappy Joe. Here comes Fails. Nocturne Guillotine used. Quickness used. And they're going to find it. Nair not as strong as they were at the start of this game.
That's a lot of ulti economy, though. As Ahri is basing, has TP available to them. Tower is going to go down, but Nostalgia, despite the wards around them, we'll walk in, we'll find Fails. I think that's a good play. I think, you know, that is a usage of your Baron. You get some tower, you get some gold back, you get some, you know, kill XP back from the Darius. You get both of the summoners off the Darius. Yes, you expend your stopwatch, but take a look at Cyankip's inventory. No flash, no ignite, but does have a 10 stack Medjai's. I don't know what I'd rather have. I feel like I'd rather have my stopwatch than a 10 stack Medjai's, but that's just me personally.
I mean, it could be the difference between winning a team fight and not. Being able to survive, to be able to get a full second round of your combo off is definitely impactful, but if you can kill them quickly enough, it doesn't matter. As Baron is now going to be down in about 30 seconds. They have been able to pick up 2 towers, and that will give them the gold lead. But some of that gold not going to be available for a potential team fight here. Meanwhile, Burger King still try to be disruptive in the side lane. Going to be able to get a little bit of damage onto that inner tower there. And probably going to be able to get it down to half.
Yeah, I mean, that's the power of the 6 scrubs, the power of the early game paying off just a bit. Not going to be able to take that whole tower down, but, you know, we'll do some good setup. And, I mean, you got to credit, I think, Akuma here. The wave pressure that they've had since that Baron has been incredibly great. They're able to have such good setup on this bot side jungle. Slappy Joe is very hard to kill, as now they will dip into the jungle. No wave for the side of Ember Wolves to really push with. It was a bait. There's no dragon being taken by the side of Akuma. They're trying to pinch now. Cyankip gonna get a sleep onto 2.
Oh boy! And that's gonna get the sleep in on 2! The Xayah gonna get a little bit out of that one, as Burger King is gonna try to stay up as long as possible, but they will be able to pick up some damage in on 2 Fails and take them down. Bounty Hunter, huge damage though. Gonna be able to take out Nostalgia. Burger King trying to run away from Xayah. Meanwhile, it continues to be a 2 for 2. No one getting dragon yet. And look at the base in the bottom lane. Sabido going to be forced to go back overway. As Cyankip going to be able to get a little extra move speed. Does not have an ultimate. Does not have their hourglass. But Marauder is going to get rooted. And Xayah is on their way. Cyankip trying to survive.
Oh, the disconnect.
Huge there. And Ember Wolves will lose 2 more, and that's going to be dragon for Akuma.
That's the week of not preparing for this tournament. Marauder going for a play that I believe would have actually killed Cyankip if they were on the same page as their top laner. TP now coming down from Burger King does have that Spear Rush available should they decide to go for it. Yes, they'll be spotted out the whole way. Cyankip not going to spot Burger King.
Okay, teleport's gonna be in, and now Xayah's low, gonna use the barrier. Here comes Bounty Hunter, but that's gonna be a shutdown, and Slappy Joe will teleport in. Are there any teleports available for Ember Wolves? No, they are not. They're gonna have to go back to secure that inhibitor. Looks like there's one super minion that's walloping on it, but they should be able to get back in time. And still 1 for 1 though.
It's 1 for 1, and I think that's more worth for the Ember Wolves. You take the sums off the AD carry, who is more vulnerable to the likes of a Rel engage. Ahri obviously will have that Spirit Rush available to stay mobile in fights. Won't be able to get, you know, the snap, you know, charm flashes, but will still be mobile. So I think still a win for Burger King there. I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
I was saying 24 stacks on Cyankip, and now has the hourglass available, and have all that movement speed as well. Gonna try to see if they land a swirl seed, and it's still gonna go in. They're gonna knock over the Lilting Bloodbath. Gonna wait a second, but they are gonna land a sleep onto Nostalgia. Oh boy, Riftmaker as well. Gonna get hit by the root, but does have the hourglass available. Feathers will fly. Gecko now. No more escape. Bounty Hunter with a great Emperor's Divide. Nair and Marauder are gonna try to run away from this one, and Burger King is nowhere to be found. An overextension by the Ember Wolves are going to give Akuma Distortion their Baron, and I think a way into winning this series.
Yeah, the momentum has finally shifted after a sequence of just great play after great play for the side of Akuma and great team fighting. Cyankip not afraid whatsoever of that engagement, was dancing around like Nostalgia wasn't even there, and it seemed like kind of even caught the Ember Wolves jungler by surprise as to how bold the Lilia was playing, and it absolutely worked. So much damage with the Riftmaker, with the Medjais. Didn't even have to use the flash, didn't have to use the Zhonyas. Just look at how fast this Lilia is.
One speedy goat, but Burger King will be able to land the charm, and Cyankip is still trying to go for it. Nope, they will back away.
For those of you wondering, Lilia currently has 650 movement speed. Not in the bush.
Oh boy!
Didn't press R. Oh, doesn't have R.
10 attacks on the Dark Seal. Oh, one speedy goat running away. Woohoo!
Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me.
And is gonna land the Lilting Lullaby, but not gonna be able to get the sleep on Nostalgia, who uses the Heartbreaker away from it. Cyankip still trying to harass, and now here comes Fails, going to try to get the quickness on Burger King, who does not have any more movement available to them. And somehow Cyankip wins that engagement. And now the walls are crumbling for Ember Wolves. Inhib down in the mid lane. Emperor's Divide onto Nair. It'll be another casualty of war. Akuma Distortion just 2 towers away from winning this series and becoming your AML Fall champions. Marco trying to defend Gecko, and Cyankip is very low on mana. Fails gonna get the knockup on it too. Sloppy Joe gonna go in. Zaya with a downtown shot. And Akuma Distortion in style will win this game in this series.
That's gonna be it. The Aegis Marauders League champions are going to be Akuma Distortion in a 3-0 fashion. That is a very dominant victory for a team that has been dominant all split long, only going one series where it looked a little bit scary for them, but here, no doubt whatsoever, against a team in Ember Wolves that, you know, looked really good for the entirety of the postseason. We saw them in the semifinals last week. Yes, the team that they played against were cheating, but they took them to 5. They took a team that was not allowed to play to 5 games. And I think tonight, had this been a traditional, matchup, semifinal winner versus semifinal winner, oh man, it could have been an absolute banger. But credit to Akuma Distortion nonetheless. It was an absolute pleasure to watch. I think, this game was a very, I want to look at the gold graph because I think it was, we could see some hills for the first time this series. And it's unfortunate that, we didn't get to see this Ember Wolves starting from game 1, but they showed us that they deserved it at the end of this. We see the little humps there in the red side, but it did not matter. The gold lead very shortly, but very quickly stemmed the way of this Akuma Distortion side. Cyankip on that Lilia doing 40k damage in a matter of 30 minutes. Very, very well played to the Akuma members there. Congratulations.
Indeed. And I mean, if game 3 was a marker or a meter for this whole series, I still think that Akuma was in the advantage seat for a really good portion of this series. Despite there being that gold deficit at around 4,000, around that 18-minute mark, they were in control of when and where they wanted to fight, especially in the mid game. We have seen a lot of mid game swings here in the AML this split, and I think that this game is no different. Being able to skirmish effectively and get team fights and advantages by maybe taking out 2 or 3 members is so huge for being able to keep that snowball going, being able to keep that momentum. And I think that Akuma Distortion, their ability to manage waves, their utilization of highly mobile champions, and just the patience that they had to say, hey, even if we go down in the early game, we can still bring it back in the mid game, was the ticket here in this series to give them this win. A really stellar performance from them, and I know that this means a lot to a lot of these players. So we'll be back in just a moment, I believe. We'll be going for that post-game interview, and when we come back, we'll jump into it. See you guys soon. Welcome back, everybody, to the AML. We are now here with a post-game interview with Akuma. And you got all of the members here ready to talk about this season, this series, and their championship win. And so, in fashion with maybe my experiences as a caster, I'm going to start this off with Zeha. You were one of the first games that I casted at the Masters level. You were in it. You have been vying for this AML championship win for years. How does it feel to take this win?
I can't describe it with words. I've been chasing AML for quite a long time now. You were there with me. I lost my finals, I remember back then, but hey, I did it, and I'm just glad that this was the team I did it with. They're good friends. They're insane players, so really glad I got to do with them. So happy for that.
Awesome. And when we, before we get into the game, I want to get your guys' opinion on the change over to this fearless draft system. How did that affect your guys' drafting in this series? And do you think that or in the season, and do you think that it gave you an advantage, or was it not really much of a difference?
I'm honestly not a huge fan of it, just because I feel like it kind of gets rid of a lot of the adaptation that happens in a series. I think it was good for us in particular because we're all pretty good about it.
Yeah,
But I also thought it made the league kind of a bit less diverse, in as weird as that is.
I think they both got their advantages.
Yep.
Like like he said, it is true. You don't adapt to the series in a sense where like, boom, you hit this guy with a counter pick, this pick's OP, something like that. But at the same time, the diversity is cool. I think it is important for the people watching. If they think it's really fun, then that's pretty cool too. I feel like either way is they have their pluses and minuses. So.
Well, I just want to take a second because this will be a bit of a team question. Anyone who wants to chime in, feel free. But, I mean, Zeha, you mentioned that your team has been, you guys have been grinding for this for the longest time. Can you sort of take me through, either you or anyone here, the iterations, the changes, the struggle, the road, as it were, for you guys to get here?
Well, the Distortion team has been, Distortion, how should I say, the name of the team has been around for about 2 years now. And like Moose said, he's like the first one to cast my game. Like, it's been around. I had like people like Saminosuke, who else? I had
Be specific,
Perfect Tempo.
but...
Like there were players that was in my roster before, and we did make it far to like finals. I remember that was like 2 years. I don't know if AML exists 2 years ago. I think it was ADO back then, but I did like give it my all to try to win, but went short and lost in finals. But I wanted to keep on trying, and I ended up finding Slappy Joe and Cyan as a team member, I think just last year, and we started to match, we got coach, and then we ended up losing in the semis to the champs last year in 2023, and decided to run it back again this year. So here we are, and I must say that Bounty Hunter and Fails is great players on their own, and they're great teammates. So yeah, once again, I'm just really happy that we won S5.
Well, that is absolutely awesome. Kind of want to get into some more individual stuff. I want to talk first, probably to Moose. I'm gonna announce our MVP here. We at the Aegis Marauders League are really happy to announce that Psykip is going to be the MVP of the finals.
Oh, yeah.
So congratulations.
No. Thank you.
Is that Slappy?
That is Slappy.
Slappy, you had a great series. It was really close. If you want to blame anyone, blame Caddy.
Just don't mention the Olaf game.
Don't mention the Olaf game? Okay. Anyway, I want to start with Psykip. Take me through your evolution during the series, because it started off, I feel like you played against 3 different junglers tonight, even though there were only 2. Starting off with the sub jungle, and then a very, very ice cold jungler, and then one that had warmed up fully. It seemed as though maybe game 3 caught you off guard a little bit, but take me through your thought process throughout the series.
Well, for the first game, we picked Bel'Veth. They picked Maokai after us, I believe, and that's just it's pretty bad matchup as Maokai, if you properly invade, he will get put really far behind, which is probably helped by the fact he is a sub, so we don't have as much communication. So that game ended up being somewhat easy, at least early game. And then in the second game, it was kind of similar, but they had a weak early game. They picked Gwen so that I couldn't pick it. And then I had Jax, which you win the early game, you beat Gwen most of the game, which meant I was able to basically do what I wanted. And after an early skirmish, I think we were just way too far ahead. So, and then in the third game, it was, I think we definitely just messed up in the early game. The jungle matchup's pretty even. Like no one directly beats the other one, but I think the enemy team was a little bit stronger early, and we messed up early. The early dive, which then did put me slightly behind, but I was able to collect shutdowns and get ahead and just start carrying the game.
Cool.
Definitely. And I do want to follow up with you again, Signkip, in terms of the overall strategy moving into the mid game, because I really felt like this season in the games that we watched, you all did a great job of preparing your lanes really effectively. And I think you had to be in the right position at the right time. Do you agree with that, or do you think that way that you guys were able to navigate the lanes in the mid game was partly due to you as well?
I think in the mid game, honestly, we usually don't have too much communication. It's kind of just whatever happens. Sometimes someone will call something out and we'll adjust to it, but usually for me, I'm just trying to collect whatever gold I can around the map, and as long as I'm not inting, it's probably good enough to work. And then once I get a gold lead, I'm able just to kind of play really aggressively, because I can just kind of kill people with gold instead of taking correct fights.
Fair enough. I want to jump down to Fails here at the support. I think that you had some of the highlight moments in the team fights. Amazing hostile takeover to end game one. Pretty significant wild growth. Some good hands to get away from some of those skill shots throughout the series, and being able to follow up your Rakano with Lilting Lullaby in game 3, multiple multi-man ultimates there. Really impressive stuff. And I want to get your mindset on when to pop those ultimates. What are you looking for? What was going through your head in those key points in games?
Let's see. For the Lulu game, I think Lulu, that was a pretty easy one. We were so far ahead, so I was able to just ult somebody on the front line, and then they could just slow people around them like she does and knock them up. That one was pretty simple. I think with the Renata game, it's pretty much the reason we picked her is what she's really just the best at. She's really good at disengaging, re-engaging. So basically, when they dive on us, they rip Maokai ult. When Yone comes in, all I have to do is just press my ult. There was a point. I got a huge ult on Yone towards the end of the game. I saw Yone, he kept using his E, he'd snap back, and then he wouldn't have it for the rest of his team fights and stuff like that. So one time he went forward. When he was going back, I just put my ult towards his team, and his E was also in that area, and I ended up getting a 4-man, I think, there. And then with the Rakan ult, that one was pretty easy too, because I was just able to go with the Lilia Sleeps. And if I can just burn out ultimates for Azir shuffles when I go onto Zarya, that's pretty simple as well. I think I trolled the early game on that one, but I think I was still useful coming later in the game. I was still making good plays with the team. Yeah.
Fair enough. I kind of want to jump to the mid lane now. We will end out with the guy who had 2 pretty crazy games, but first, the rock in the mid lane, Iris Bounty Hunter, Chappie. I gotta ask you, man, because what has been the highlight of this series for you, or what has rather been the highlight of your split so far, coming to this moment?
I've just been having a good time. I don't really have any highlight in particular. It's kind of been.
All right, let me rephrase the question. Let me rephrase the question. Hold on, Bills. Okay. Let me rephrase the question, because I want Chappie to answer this. All right. How
Okay.
will your team, how will the 5 of you collectively remember this season?
I think we played
What
really
what
well.
has defined this season for you guys?
Our mental overall was really good. Like a lot of the games we'd go in, like the last game, right? We'd get pretty behind early at times. This was a pretty common thing, and then we would just kind of make magic happen and just like turn a 5K deficit into a 3K advantage in 5 minutes from like 15 to 20. Happened a lot. That's kind of the big thing on my mind on that.
And then your role in all of this crazy 5-minute comebacks. Where did you see it this season?
I am a soldier. I follow my yell leader in the jungle.
Well, fantastic.
I do my thing.
Thank you, Bounty Hunter.
I was gonna say his favorite moment is when our top laner proxied his mid wave in their Nexus. The double proxy. He proxied the top lane wave and the mid lane wave all together, and our mid laner didn't have a wave to go to.
Oh, that's my highlight.
In lane phase, that's his highlight.
That's
That's
your
also
highlight.
did illegal stuff to my top laner after that. But
Said the things that you wouldn't say in front of your mom. Yeah, Zeha?
Yeah.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah, it was bad.
All right. Well, gonna move into the top side. Gonna move into the player that absolutely ran the first 2 games. Granted, with the helpful support of your support in jungle. And it was not a solo mission, but it was one that you were able to take and run with. Mr. Slappy Joe. Can you take me through sort of your matchup tonight? Because I feel like you had Nair's number all night long. Even into the lane swap scenario, once you were able to swap back into them. Take me through how you approached this and sort of what was the turning point for you.
I think I just had each matchup I had a really good idea of like how the lane should be played and like what should be like the proper outcome. And like game 1 is like it's actually a pretty bad matchup for Olaf. It's not great, but it's into the comp, so we picked it. So realistically, I just got to go even. And so I played for that, but then I guess Nair just really likes to fight, so he just died to me because he played the fight poorly. And then game 2, in my mind, my Vlad is like my best champion. I will beat everything and anything. So that's what happened that game. And then game 3, we just lane swapped because I thought it'd be funny because I know this guy really likes to fight and he gets really tilted. So we just lane swapped and it didn't work out, but we still won at least.
It turned out your bot lane and jungle like to fight more. All right, well, fantastic moves. I think we're gonna move on to shoutouts. Yes.
Yeah, gonna move on to shoutouts. Yeah, any final shoutouts, any final words you want to give us to round out the 2024 AML season?
Well, let me go
Anyone has
first.
Anyone has a question they'd like to answer that we didn't ask.
I was gonna say thank you to Akuma once again, putting me here, and then Zeha too, because Zeha asked me. He pretty much had all these guys together, and then he asked me to play support. So I spent pretty much this whole split trying to fit with these guys because this is the way we play the game is the way I've never played before. So I pretty much spent the entire split learning a new way to play, and I think it really started to lock in last week, to be honest. After the series with Barker War, so it was pretty good. So thank you to everybody, Akuma, and all that for helping us be here.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna start shoutouts. Let's go. If you guys are looking at Discord, let's start from the top. So Cyan, we're gonna start with you and then move our way down from there.
Shout out to our coach who was drunk at Applebee's during those games. Sadly, he did not make it to game 3 because his phone died. So we had to figure that out on our own, but it worked out.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
You could do more than one Cyan if you want. If
He's
not-
good.
All right. Fails, let's do it.
Well, yeah, that was pretty much mine. Thank you again, Akuma. And these guys did well. We all adapted for us to work out together, I think, and it ended up, the result turned out pretty good. So we had last 2 weeks were pretty dominant. Beating Dorado was definitely the highlight. This one was good too. Winning is good. But last week felt almost just as good. Not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
All right, Slappy.
All right, I only have
Also,
one
if-
person to thank, and
Since your
it's our
teammate
old
is done.
coach. It's our old coach for losing a $10 bet to me before we booted him. So Thank you to that guy.
Oh, wait, and thank you to Riddy and Franco last week. Those guys smurfed it too. Let's just not forget that.
Oh
Throw
yeah,
those
I
names in there.
guess those two guys too. I mean, I guess those two.
I guess.
I guess.
Should mention them by name. Fireflans.
I call him the secret weapon, but I think Fireflies is fine.
Fine.
You let him play instead of you. He even got back for game 3 last week.
Yeah, he did. He came back for the third game and he said, "You're smurfing it. Just keep playing."
I was so stressed, but he.
Oh, you guys had subs last
From the
week. I was
strong.
here.
Yeah. Yep.
We had two
Fireflans, our top end jungle were subbed.
Oh wow.
Cyan played the first game, and Riddy played the second and third, and Fireflies played the whole thing.
Awesome. Yeah, shout out to the subs.
100%.
And then we'll finish that with Bounty Hunter and Zaya.
Yeah, I just want to shout out my team. I had a really good time. I actually lost like multiple times in like finals and playoffs to my top lane Sloppy Joe. Like over in Titan in here. And then after last split, he's like, "Hey, I'm lane swapping top. You want to go
Like
mid?"
that.
I was like, "You know what? Let's do it." So thanks for the shot, everyone. Had a good time.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Say, round us out. The one who started it. Let's finish this
Yeah.
off.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I just want to shout out to my teammates, every one of them. Like, when it comes to discipline and like scrims, like I kind of push my teammates to always be there, and they all responded well, I think. Well, some members, I guess. But yeah, I just want to say everyone was committed from the very beginning when we completed the roster. I just bluntly said I'm aiming to win AML and nothing else. And yeah, I'm just really happy that the result came through. That's all I gotta say. It's a really great holiday gift for myself because I really all I wanted this entire past 3 months. So I'm just very proud of the players. And the org, Akuma was very accommodating. When it comes to rosters and when it comes to like team admin stuff, I'm very picky and selective. And Coffee and Miko, our team owner or org owner, was very accommodating and nice. So I gotta give shout out to them. And for the rest of the viewers who was watching us and cheering us on, thank you once again. And I'm just gonna end it with saying,
Wait, can we move
Really
in
have
Reppy? He just
ego?
got back.
Shout out to Far Squad. Shout out to Far
Can
Squad.
we move in our coach Reppy?
Far Squad, the goats. That's my server.
Let me finish this. And I must say that Franco, Fireflans, and Riddy, thank you so much for subbing in. Appreciate that. You guys are clutch for that. And let's enjoy the condo party. Let's go. Okay. Condo.
Can we get Reppy in for a last
Our
word?
coach, he's back.
Coach.
His phone's back.
Oh, goodness.
He's ready.
That's not a decision I will make.
Okay, it's up to you guys.
I think we might call it here though. Moose.
Okay.
Any final words?
That's fine.
Reppy, thank you. Reppy, thank you for being here. Sorry that.
Shout out, Reppy.
Sorry we're being like this.
Alrighty, guys. Hey, no worries at all. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Congratulations on the win. Best of luck in your future endeavors. And yeah, have a great rest of your night, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Aegis.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations.
Good night,
guys.
everyone.
Alrighty, everybody. That is going to do it today for the Aegis Marauders League. And that is going to do it for us here at AML for the 2024 year. We will definitely be back in 2025 for the winter season. And if you guys have not already done so, please make sure that you are in the Discord so that you guys can stay up to date on when signups happen, on when your teams could potentially register, on potentially finding a team, not just for AML, but for all of the other leagues that span so many other ranks here in League of Legends. We've got the APL, the AEL, the ACL, and the ADL. So a lot of action throughout the week, a lot of content for you guys to enjoy, and a lot of opportunity for you guys to make friends, play games, and potentially be Aegis Esports champions for a season. On behalf of everybody here at Aegis Esports, Septi, our producer Caddy, and myself, thank you guys all so much for watching this entire season, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.